Chapter 381. Questioning inner heart pills coursing a stir again. Yang Chen's mind was still hesitant. At first, he felt that accepting Gongsun Ling was already unfair to his master. Secondly, Yang Chen has never figured out whether he wanted to accept Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu. This was not a wish that came from his heart. That was to say, while apologizing to his master, the feelings between Yang Chen, Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu have not yet reached the point where they could get married together. This was not surprising, they have not been together for a long time. Although they were very happy to meet each other, they have not reached the point where they had to get married. But now Gao Yu was the master of Yang Chen, as the master she took the responsibility and Yang Chen could not object. Gao Yu's identity was very special now, not only was she the master of Yang Chen, but also the wife of Yang Chen. Whether it was Gongsun Ling, Zhanxian or Sun Qingxu, if they wanted to enter the Yang family, even if they had a higher cultivation base, they had to bow their heads to Gao Yu as an elder sister. In the end, Yang Chen still did not object to Gao Yu, he made a long sigh and nodded. Since it was well received, he simply accepted it. Yang Chen also did not want to destroy the cooperation between the Pure Yang Palace, Blue Cloud Sect, and the Green Jade Immortal Island. The issue now was that there were no problems in the Pure Yang Palace, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling had no problems, Yang Chen had no problems. He just didn't know what Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu wanted. Would they be willing to share Yang Chen with Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling? In Yang Chen's opinion, Sun Qingxu may not have too much objection, but Zhanxian was hard to comprehend. With the arrogant temperament of Zhanxian, maybe it would not be considered at all. Good. The palace master saw that Yang Chen also nodded and suddenly he was happy, the other elders were also happy. This was the ideal situation for everyone and everyone was happy to see it. The sect will immediately chose a day to go to the Blue Cloud Sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island to discuss the marriage. As the head of the palace was happy, he immediately made a decision. It is rare for the Pure Yang Palace to have such a happy event, the sect must make it a grand occasion. The master of the palace has made a decision and everyone would naturally not object. The palace master wanted to be a grand servant once, but with this as a pretext, the relationship between the Pure Yang Palace, Blue Cloud Sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island would once again be closer by 10%, which was very meaningful. The next thing, he doesn't need Yang Chen to intervene again. The master of the palace even decided to personally go to the two major sects to propose marriage. As for the dowry, there was no such thing that the Pure Yang Palace couldn't provide. The second-grade inner sensing pills and the second-grade questioning inner heart pills were definitely big assets that were coveted by other sects. Of course, they could prepare a few more of the second-grade inner sensing pills, but the second-grade questioning inner heart pills could only be 2, not more. But even so, it was a rare gift that would definitely make the Blue Cloud Sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island satisfied. The marriage of Yang Chen was handled by the sect, naturally they took Yang Chen's birthday with the girls and checked their horoscope for a good day for the marriage. This time would not be very short, taking advantage of this opportunity, Yang Chen could just go out for a while. After they determined their relationship with Yang Chen, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling naturally moved together with Yang Chen. Originally, Gao Yu also wanted to travel with Yang Chen, but she had to temper the dragon horn, so she could not go out for the time being. He could only be accompanied by Gongsun Ling. This time, Yang Chen was planning to collect the medicine-nourishing gourd left by an immortal on the Immortal Executioner Stage. This gourd has been coveted by Yang Chen for a long time, but he has always felt that his strength was not enough to collect it. Now his full attribute spirit power was condensed and there was a large number of first wood spiritual solution and seventh metal spiritual solution as the foundation. Yang Chen now had the qualification to collect this medicine gourd. The medicinal nourishing gourd left by the immortal originally belonged to a top-grade alchemy grandmaster. After careful refining the medicine-nourishing gourd, the medicinal pills put into it would be slowly warmed, purified and enhance the medicine's essence. If the questioning inner heart pill, heaven-seizing pill and other heaven-defying pills were placed in the gourd, he would not need to cover it with a talisman, it was definitely a precious thing that alchemy masters dream of. Gongsun Ling's mountain river geographic map, the more places that it passed through, the more complete the geography drawn would be, the greater the power of the array. As long as there was an opportunity, Gongsun Ling would go out and now could travel with Yang Chen again, Gongsun Ling naturally wanted it. The place where the medicine-nourishing gourd was located was within the Dao sect's domain. As long as they were slightly careful, there would not be much of a crisis. However, Yang Chen now had a special status. The greatest heaven sect deliberately wanted Yang Chen's life. In any case, he had to be careful. Before going out, Yang Chen went to the Thousand Autumn Pavilion Market again. Before the reward of Yang Lan, Yang Chen also had to learn something from Shangyun Feng here. As Yang Chen expected, with Yang Chen once again increasing the reward of the spiritual stones, Yang Lan, the guy who was in the foundation stage, even in the greatest heaven sect, he was still anxious, for fear that there would be people around him that would assassinate him. He was careful every day, let alone leave the greatest heaven sect, he does not dare to pass the outer sect of the greatest heaven sect easily. This was exactly the effect that Yang Chen wanted. Although Yang Chen did not have the fear of him like this, he has been escaping for 100 years in the shadow of being chased. Relatively speaking, Yang Lan's suffering was only a few days, and it was not enough to pay off the interest of Yang Chen's past life. The reward is raised to 10 pounds of high-grade spirit stones. Yang Chen once again raised the reward. For a guy who was in the foundation stage, this was already a sky-high price, and even more than enough to deal with a cultivator in the early Jidan stage. Even if it's just a little bit of spirit stones and he was willing to change it with the head of another cultivator, there would be many people willing to do it. Yang Chen was going to raise the rewards from time to time so that Yang Lan would be living in fear. Yang Lan was no better than Yang Chen. In his previous life, he relied on the big tree of the greatest heaven sect. He relied on the drill camp to make a living, but his achievements were not high. At least Yang Chen had never seen the shadow of this guy in the spiritual world for many years. He believed that when the reward was high enough, Yang Lan would be betrayed by the people in his sect, holding his head to get the reward from Yang Chen. This was Yang Chen's planned life track for Yang Lan, and there would be no bias. Even Yang Chen hoped that Yang Lan would be tougher and more slick and would be able to support himself until the final time. As Yang Chen said, with a questioning inner heart pill, there would definitely be an elder-level figure of the greatest heaven sect who would personally solve the problem with Yang Lan. As for finding Shang Yuanfeng, Yang Chen also had a purpose, to let Shang Yuanfeng inquire if there was someone who offered a high price reward for himself. According to the norm, the general reward would never provoke the dozen or so killers to go out, the masters of the Yuning stage, the worst was also at the peak Jidan stage, how could they attack him for some spiritual stones? Shang Yuanfeng was now also cooperating with the Wine Immortal House, and it was naturally easy to find out the news. Shang Yuanfeng patted his chest to ensure that the next time Yang Chen came, he would definitely give him a satisfactory answer. Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling started on the road together, even if they were to arrive at the place where the medicine-nourishing gourd was located, it would take several months. Both of them were in Yang Chen's shuttle. This time, Yang Chen did not intend to publicize, he was very low-key. Anyway, Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling were together, they loved each other. On this road, it doesn't matter how long or short it would be, the two were happy. Not to mention the lingering affair between the two people, there was another event in recent days, which led to all the Dao sects being in clamor. The matter happened in the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, but it was not Yang Chen's proposal to Shai Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu, but in just less than 2 months, the two sects had a new expert who was promoted to the Daching stage each. The big sect having a master of the Peking stage promoting to the Daching stage was not a surprising thing. However, the promotion of a Daching stage master was not so easy. At that time, Elder Hua Wanting spent almost 100 years and competed with the Blood Phantom Vines, this was only possible with a little help from Yang Chen. In the last 100 years since then, there has not been a new master of the Daching stage. The old tree demon was its own accumulation, and the monster cultivators were not counted. The true Dao cultivator, after 100 years, there was only Wang Yong of the Pure Yang Palace. However, it has only been a few years after Wang Yong was promoted. Now there were 2 Peking stage masters who promoted and they were all related to the Pure Yang Palace, this has to be surprising. In fact, everyone understood that this was definitely a credit for the questioning inner heart pills. This kind of heaven-defying pill that allowed the masters of the Daching stage to take the opportunity to break through their realm was used in the body of a Yuning stage ancestor, it was also a spirit medicine that could make people feel reborn. Wang Yong's promotion was related to the questioning inner heart pills, and the 2 masters of the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island were also related to the questioning inner heart pills. After the confirmation of the 2 major sects, the value of the questioning inner heart pills has once again soared to a higher level. It was not known how many people who were trapped in the Yuning stage and waiting for their lifespan to exhaust wanted to get a questioning inner heart pill. Everyone knew that the pill recipe for the questioning inner heart pill was in the hands of Yang Chen of the Pure Yang Palace. All the questioning inner heart pills that have appeared now were from Yang Chen's making, with no exception. All eyes seemed to be concentrated on the Pure Yang Palace. If it was in the past, a small second-class martial arts sect, there would be experts who would try to coerce the Pure Yang Palace to hand over the pill recipe or force Yang Chen to help refine the questioning inner heart pills. However, unlike before, the current Pure Yang Palace was not like before, they have established a cooperative alliance with the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. Even if it was the greatest heaven sect, if there was no such thing as a sorrowful grievance, they would not dare to easily provoke the Pure Yang Palace. Moreover, some large-scale sects were clear that even if it was the Green Jade Immortal Island, if they wanted to refine their questioning inner heart pills, they must pay enough compensation to the Pure Yang Palace and Yang Chen, and they must also bring their own medicinal herbs. From this point of view, whether it was the five-element sect or the Qianqin sect, they were thinking about forming a relationship with the Pure Yang Palace. Otherwise, they would not accept the compensation of the secret plane from the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, and they would be even closer to the two major sects. It was clear that they wanted to get to the Pure Yang Palace through the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. After all, there has never been any interactions before, even if it was the five-element sect and the Qianqin sect, it was impossible to look down on the Pure Yang Palace with aloof eyes. If they were seeking people, they must have an attitude of seeking people. At this point, the five-element sect and the Qianqin sect did well enough, and they had enough patience. There were no years in cultivation, so the years and decades used to establish good cooperative relationship was trivial, it was not a big deal for those of the large sect. Even if it took longer, it was definitely worth it. If you look at the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, it's just a few decades of cooperation, isn't it? Similarly, does the Greatest Heaven sect not want to get a questioning inner heart pill? However, the previous arrangements for Yang Chen against the Pure Yang Palace have completely pushed the Pure Yang Palace and Yang Chen to the opposite side. Even if the Greatest Heaven sect wanted to have a relationship with the Pure Yang Palace, it was impossible not to remember the hatred of Yang Chen's past life. In the secret plane, the Greatest Heaven sect lost 5 Daching stage masters, and the two big sects lost 3 respectively, there was still some balance. After all, the two big sects still did not have deep roots like the Greatest Heaven sect. The number of such top experts were still insufficient. Originally, there were still a few advantages, but now, the Greatest Heaven sect could only watch the two sects in less than a few years cultivate 2 new masters of the Daching stage. Moreover, the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island had more questioning inner heart pills in hand, and this situation would only appear more frequently. For the Greatest Heaven sect, this was absolutely fatal. If they let the current situation develop, the strength of the Greatest Heaven sect would be surpassed by the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, and at this moment the power of the Greatest Heaven sect's reserve force was hit hard. The Greatest Heaven sect's status as the leader of the Tao sects was already in jeopardy. All of this seemed to be related to Yang Chen. No matter how hard the Greatest Heaven sect's top executives wanted to break their heads, they couldn't figure out why a kid in the early Jidan stage, who was cultivating under their eyes, could have brought them so much trouble. From the questioning inner heart pill, the Greatest Heaven sect's top executives seemed to have speculated about the death of the Yuning stage master, who they sent to kill Yang Chen and the killers. With such a good thing, if they were to move 1 or 2 masters of the Daching stage to secretly protect him, it was not impossible. But this speculation, the top executives of the Greatest Heaven sect suddenly had no confidence in killing Yang Chen. Such a monstrous talent, if there were several secret protections from Daching stage masters, what kind of lineup could kill Yang Chen? The problem was that for the development of the sect, Yang Chen must be killed now. Otherwise, once Yang Chen refines more and more questioning inner heart pills, the threat to the Greatest Heaven sect would increase. Now the five-element sect and Qianqin sect were faintly leaning towards the Pure Yang Palace. Once the other 4 sects have received Yang Chen's pills and only the Greatest Heaven sect was not there, the pile of the Greatest Heaven sect was simply a deadly threat. In any case, Yang Chen should be killed. Not only that, but it was also necessary to grab or destroy the pill recipe that Yang Chen may have left. They were afraid that it was not enough to deal with one Yang Chen alone, but also to count the Pure Yang Palace. There was no moment that the Greatest Heaven sect would feel that the small second-rate sect like the Pure Yang Palace would be so threatening and would want to get rid of it. Everything was just because Yang Chen was a monstrous talent. If that stupid guy didn't throw Yang Chen out of the Greatest Heaven sect, how good it would be. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 382. Coursing a Stir. Yang Chen and Gongsun, like a leisurely swim on the road, like a mountain playing with water, did not hurry and slowed down to the place where the medicine-nourishing gourd was kept, no matter whether the outside had been turned over because of the questioning inner heart pills. Gongsun took out her best craftsmanship, just like a wife, and gave Yang Chen every time to make elaborate foods. Anyway, the main aim of Gongsun was to temper her life source magic weapon and consolidate her cultivation base. The mountain river geographical map had its special effects. As long as it travels enough, it could be upgraded. It was not necessary for Gongsun to consume too much energy to cultivate it. This was naturally easier for Yang Chen, he could enjoy the food that Gongsun carefully prepared for him. Every meal left Yang Chen beaming with joy. At this time, Gongsun Ling was at Yang Chen's side, so she was responsible for making food for him. She looked at Yang Chen's mouth, which was eating her own food, and her face was full of satisfaction. Yang Chen knew that the best way to treat his beloved wife, who cooked with her heart for him, was to devour the food she cooked. This was the greatest respect for her efforts, and Yang Chen did the same. Gongsun Ling had a small amount of food. The people who cultivated seldom eat some common food. Almost 99% of the delicious food fell into the mouth of Yang Chen. In addition to this, the two were talking about some mountains and rivers, and they traveled to see it. In essence, Gongsun Ling was still an array cultivator. For array cultivators, the powerful formations were also like the whole world, and then the powerful masters must survive in the heavens and the earth and cannot jump out of them. The mountain river geographical map was strong. It was also for this reason. Therefore, what Yang Chen said to Gongsun Ling was nothing more than letting Gongsun Ling know more about the natural world. It was also of great benefit to her cultivation. Of course, what Yang Chen said was not as inferior as what Gongsun Ling witnessed when she traveled the world, but that must be of the future too. Naturally, when the two were together, there was no shortage of spiritual awareness double cultivation. Yang Chen's spiritual awareness advancement was of great benefit to the promotion of Gongsun Ling. In fact, before returning to the Pure Yang Palace, Gongsun Ling's spiritual awareness has already risen to the peak of the early Yuning stage. And every time they practiced, the spiritual awareness of the two would become more concise. Although Yang Chen had a more powerful double cultivation method, Yang Chen does not intend to cultivate it when everyone was in the early Jidan stage. Not to mention that Yang Chen, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling were tempering their life source magic weapon. Rashly having double cultivation would infringe on their own magic weapon. It was not enough to practice those double cultivation methods. Cultivating the double cultivation method under Yuning stage, unless there was no way around it, Yang Chen would never consider it. This point was not only for Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling, but also for Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu. Yang Chen could have the highest mystery yin-yang heart sutra double cultivation with them. He would not easily cultivate the spirit power double cultivation. Originally it was thought that the upsurge of the new masters of the Daching stage would gradually weaken with the passage of time, but when experts visited the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, Yang Chen was once again pushed to the cusp again. The expert who met the two sects was the beast-taming sect senior Black Tiger. In fact, speaking strictly, the first one to accept the monster race was not the Pure Yang Palace, but the beast-taming sect. However, the cultivation method of the beast-taming sect was relatively special. The monster could not completely break the relationship. Every monster pet was a monster, and a powerful monster pet was a more powerful monster. In essence, these monsters were of the monster race, but only the monster race who were controlled by people. Of course, the Dao sects could accept this kind of thing, no doubt. The identity of the Black Tiger predecessor was also a monster pet of an ascended expert who stayed to look after the sect. For a powerful beast-taming master, there would never be only one monster pet. Leaving one was not difficult. But the lifespan of the Black Tiger and the monster race, plus the cultivation base of the Daching stage, no matter which sect, it could afford the name of a predecessor. What's more, now the beast-taming sect, Pure Yang Palace, Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island have been cooperating to operate the 100,000 mountains. The two sects were of course courteous with the reception of the older generation. This year, when the Black Tiger predecessor left the 100,000 mountains, because the beast-taming sect and the Pure Yang Palace had fewer masters, the two sects sent experts there. When the Black Tiger came back, they turned to the Pure Yang Palace. Of course, it was the avatar of the old tree demon Gi Shanyu. The Black Tiger predecessor visited the two sects, which was purely etiquette. In recent years, the beast-taming sect has also received a lot of resources for its long-term development, and it has absolutely the most direct relationship with the four big sects. As a small sect, the beast-taming sect certainly knew where these benefits came from. As the Black Tiger predecessor was the most respected existence in the beast-taming sect, it was also natural to visit the two sects. Not to mention the Black Tiger predecessor overseeing the 100,000 mountains, but what happened in the past 10 years has not passed his eyes and ears. There were also well-informed generations in the 100,000 mountains. Especially after the four sects secured the 100,000 mountains, many people in the Dao sects went to the 100,000 mountains to try their luck. The Black Tiger predecessor knew no less than anyone. Originally it was only a courtesy visit, but at the time of his visit in the Blue Cloud sect, it was quite accidental to talk about this dispute in the secret plane. For this level of the secret plane, the Black Tiger predecessor had never had an extravagant hope about it, but he heard that the Blue Cloud sect had two great masters of the Daching stage injured, which may lead to hundreds of years or even longer time to recover. He was a little surprised, but also a little hesitant to rest on it. Sect Master Lu was aware of this point, and he was slightly balanced in his heart. He sincerely asked the Black Tiger predecessor. Anyway, Sect Master Lu faced the Black Tiger predecessor as the younger generation. The younger generation consulting the senior was perfectly justified. When this old man was facing a yin fire tribulation, he was seriously injured. Although I was lucky enough to be promoted to the daching stage, the internal wounds have been in the body. The Black Tigers hesitated for a moment, but he said something. L have been suppressing the internal wounds for hundreds of years. A few decades ago, I was finally unable to suppress it. This was the secret of the beast taming sect, which was related to the survival of the beast taming sect, so the beast taming sect has never publicized it. Now the Black Tiger predecessor has already convalesced, and he said it to Sect Master Lu, so it was no big deal. For the first time, Sect Master Lu heard this beast taming sect secret and was very focused. When the internal injury was about to break out, this old man met Yang Chen. The Black Tiger predecessor finally said the most important part. He saw this old man's injury and refined 2 pills for this old man. One was called the Black Tiger suppressing pill, and the other was called the Black Tiger Yuan replenishing pill. The 2 medicinal pills were taken, and this old man has recovered from the internal injuries from hundreds of years ago. Having said that, how couldn't he understand it already? Before, everyone was still talking about the success or failure of the secret plane. The Blue Cloud sect sent out 6 masters of the daching stage, 1 died and 2 were seriously injured. There was nothing that could be done about the dead one, but the 2 that were seriously injured, weren't they in a similar situation to the Black Tiger predecessor? What's more, the Black Tiger predecessor's injury was an internal injury left by the yin fire tribulation. Strictly speaking, it was still heavier than the injury of the formation in the secret plane. Even the injuries of the Black Tiger predecessor could be healed, doesn't that mean that these 2 seriously wounded daching stage masters could be the same? The first 3 masters of the daching stage were the 3 guys who did not obey Sect Master Lu. However, after this time lessons of the secret plane, together with a new daching stage master who made the breakthrough with the questioning inner heart pill, the 2 remaining seriously injured guys must have understood the general trend. Under this circumstance, if they could make the 2 seriously wounded masters of the daching stage recover, doesn't it mean that the strength of the Blue Cloud sect would immediately return to before the battle of the secret plane, they would be more united and they would have the secret plane resources. Sect Master Lu was in charge of the Blue Cloud sect for many years, and the key to this could certainly be understood. After listening to the description of the Black Tiger predecessor, Sect Master Lu was overcome with joy. Yang Chen could treat the injuries of the Black Tiger predecessor, and it was very likely that he could also treat the injuries of the 2 masters of their sect. When they cured the injury and they became obedient, the benefits were self-evident. Since he has already said this to the Blue Cloud sect, when the Black Tiger predecessor was in the Green Jade Immortal Island, he did not discriminate and mention the same thing. The thoughts of the Island Master and Sect Master Lu were almost the same. Otherwise, they will not be in the same tacit understanding of the previous secret plane battle. They each sent several disobedient guys. Although the Green Jade Immortal Island lost 2 daching stage masters, only one had serious injuries, but it was a daching stage master. If he could be cured, even if he does not listen to the sect master, it would also strengthen the power of the sect. Everything seems to have returned to Yang Chen again. Yang Chen, who was planning to collect medicines and the medicine nourishing gourd outside, did not know that he unconsciously has become the focus of attention. These secrets were of course limited to the 2 high-level sects. The Black Tiger predecessor would not see anyone, and he would say that he was seriously injured in the past and was cured by Yang Chen. Therefore, there were not many people who knew this. However, another thing about Yang Chen that the world got to know about quickly caused a sensation. The Pure Yang Palace's palace master personally went to the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, respectively, for their own ancestral disciple Yang Chen to ask for a marriage with Zhanxian and son Qingxu. This thing did not have much concealment. It quickly spread over the sects. Cold Plum Fairy and Snow Fairy, almost as long as they were cultivators, everyone knew the names of the 2. Born with gentle attitudes, their talents were excellent and they were also beautiful and unparalleled. Whichever one was taken out as a double cultivation Tao companion has been dreamed of by countless cultivators. It was not known how many people were secretly playing with the idea of having the 2 fairies. But now, a disciple of the Pure Yang Palace has dared to take the world by storm. One person was trying to marry the 2 fairies as his Tao companions. How could it not make countless people who were having ideas on the 2 females scream out in anger? Although Zhanxian had already stated that she was Yang Chen's person, but hasn't this always been a fact? How many people were looking forward to Yang Chen suddenly suffering a violent death so that they could take the opportunity to enter the fray? Although the Snow Fairy did not say so clearly, there were many people in the Blue Cloud sect who knew the relationship between Sun Qingxu and Yang Chen. It seems that it was also at the point where it was not impossible. People who knew this kind of thing understood, but they all knew one thing, that was, if Yang Chen wanted to be a Tao companion with any one of them, it was not a difficult thing. However, if he became greedy and he wanted to take the two beauties and imitate an emperor, it was simply impossible. Not mentioning that if the two women meet this kind of situation, they would not agree, but the two major sects of the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island would not entertain it. Needless to say, even if the head of the palace of the Pure Yang Palace personally came forward, even if the sect master of the Greatest Heaven sect came out, the two sects may not necessarily give the sect master of the Greatest Heaven sect such face. What's more, this was not the most extreme thing about the situation. The most disappointing thing was that Yang Chen, the kid, actually wanted to marry his master and apprentice sister also. At this point, the Pure Yang Palace did not hide it. According to this argument, the Cold Plum Fairy and Snow Fairy would not necessarily be Yang Chen's wife. After hearing this news, the first reaction in everyone's mind was to hit their face. This was definitely the Pure Yang Palace slapping the two major sects in the face, there was no other explanation. Was there anything more ridiculous than hearing this? Compared with this kind of shock, Yang Chen wanting to marry his own master was almost a small little thing that could no longer be a small sesame. If a cultivator and his master had double cultivation together, it was not worth making a fuss about. What really shocked everyone was that the move of the Pure Yang Palace was definitely a good bullying of the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, it could be used to obtain soft persimmons. If this could be tolerated, what else couldn't they bear? There was still no formal indication from the two sects, the cultivators in the world were already in amnesty. What does Pure Yang Palace want to do? They were courting death for themselves. Who really thought that Yang Chen the little alchemist master could be so arrogant? Yes, the alchemist master in the cultivation world was indeed an honorable rank, idlers were not willing to provoke them easily. However, this does not include the big sects like the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. Which big sect does not have a few senior alchemist masters? They really thought that without a small Yang Chen, no one could refine a medicinal pill. Among them, the most happy was the Greatest Heaven sect. The Pure Yang Palace's move was definitely a self-destruction of their relationship. It's hard to establish an alliance with the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. If it was because of this event on the part of the Pure Yang Palace, it's a waste of effort. As long as there was no alliance with the two sects, if the Greatest Heaven sect wanted to destroy the Pure Yang Palace, it would take just a matter of minutes. Everyone was waiting for a reply from the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. Everyone was waiting to see the outcome of the Pure Yang Palace and Yang Chen. Countless gloating guys were even thinking about it once the Pure Yang Palace was abandoned by the two main sects, how they could get the most benefits from the Pure Yang Palace. If they could get the questioning inner heart pill, it would mean the brightest future for them. Yang Chen, who was at the cusp of the event, had no awareness of being concerned. He was traveling with Gongsun Ling and slowly approaching the place where the medicine nourishing gourd was located. There were more than a dozen days ahead, which was the destination. At that time, Yang Chen's dream of raising the medicine nourishing gourd would be in Yang Chen's hand. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 383. Blockage. Yang Chen's destination was close to the mountains in the west. Although it was still in the Tao sect's domain, because of the relatively rare spirit power, there were few cultivators coming here, except for some rogue cultivators and occasionally passing guys. However, very few people do not mean that no one came here. At least Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling have encountered several cultivators now, and it seems that they were very rude to Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling. Fellow Taoist, here is the place of our retreat, please leave. Four masters of the Peak Jidan stage, standing in a row, stopped the road of Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling. The four looked at Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling, and their eyes were very cold. Being closer to their destination, Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling gave up the shuttle and changed to their flying swords, but the speed was not as fast as before, just to find the most accurate location. Unexpectedly, the four people who suddenly appeared stopped them when they did not reach the position that the immortal said. Retreat. Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling were both surprised. There was a lack of spirit power here. Even if it was only a daily practice, there was not enough spiritual power. Unless it was supplemented with a large number of spirit stones, it was somewhat excessive to do something like that. Was someone actually retreating here? Fortunately, this was not the destination of Yang Chen, how others were willing to retreat here, Yang Chen does not have to care. Listening to the words of the four people, Yang Chen said indifferently. If this is the case, then we will make a detour. When Yang Chen spoke, Gongsun Ling stood quietly on the side of Yang Chen, and she said nothing. Since Yang Chen came forward, she just had to wait for Yang Chen to handle it. She had nothing else to worry about. But this attitude of giving them face, the four people had no reason to martyr Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling, But the world was unpredictable. Yang Chen and Gongsun just wanted to change their direction, but the leader of the four people suddenly rushed to the opposite of the two and intercepted their way. My widowed master is retreating here. The distance of 1,000 li is a forbidden place. Fellow Taoist, wherever you came from, you will have to go back so as not to get hurt from angering us. The Jidan stage master who appeared in front of Yang Chen and Gongsun coldly threatened while blocking the road. 1,000-mile circumference, Yang Chen's destination was also included. Yang Chen looked at that direction and couldn't help but sigh. He didn't have the mind to fight with these people, however when the people took the initiative to provoke him, there was nothing that he could do about it. I don't know how long you have to go into seclusion, calculate the time, and I will come back later. Before starting, Yang Chen first lowered his posture and tried to solve it by other methods. He was here to take things, not to kill people. Generally speaking, Yang Chen was still a good person. As long as it was not something too much, Yang Chen would not pursue it. Take Guang Ning of the Luminous Moon Hall, who wanted to rob Yang Chen's bright ray sword. Yang Chen did not get angry at first and even promised to give him a better flying sword. If it was not for Guang Ning compelling him step by step, Yang Chen would not have killed him. For Yang Chen, the path of cultivation was not to kill. If it was to kill, if the immortals that were killed by Yang Chen were to be added up, it would be more than the immortals whom everyone in the world has ever heard of. When a person arrived at the realm of Yang Chen, he couldn't afford any interest in a group of mortal realm cultivators. If it was changed to a few Great Principle Golden Immortals, maybe Yang Chen could be moved. The more people standing taller, the more humiliating Yang Chen seemed to be in this state. Naturally, this was also related to the memory of his previous life. When they heard Yang Chen's words, the other party apparently did not expect Yang Chen's answer. Even if it was unreasonable, it seemed that there was no reason to attack when it came to Yang Chen's coping. They said that he was not allowed to go in, well, he would not go in, he would go around. They said that he couldn't make a detour, he had to pass the original way back, good, but he asked when he could pass. Since it was only a retreat and it was not for a long term, there must be a time limit. This, the patriarch did not explain, but the other party was apparently stunned and immediately replied, answering one sentence, and seemed to feel that he could not give a letter of confession. After hesitating, he said after a millennium. Millennium? Yang Chen directly frowned. With the speed of Yang Chen and the women's cultivation now, a millennium was enough for them to ascend, what else would be there to take? Kids, go away, don't ask too many questions. The guy opposite to them obviously couldn't make the other few satisfied. Next, there was a voice which plugged in. If you don't want to go, this old man doesn't mind leaving you here forever. It seems that it is not bad to accept a little guy to be my slave. Another voice seems even more ferocious. In addition, this little lady has a good aptitude and would make a good cauldron. I will have a big reward. The words suddenly made Yang Chen's face become cold. Yang Chen doesn't mind that the others used that attitude on him, but the discourse involving Gongsun, that was another matter. What he said is not very clear, please explain it a little. Yang Chen's face became cold and immediately restored to being calm, and he asked the person standing in front of him. The opposite person slammed the last guy who had just said nothing and was about to say something. The guy had already opened his mouth directly. You don't understand. The woman behind you, my master wants her, if you hand her over, we can let you be our slave and spare your life. Yang Chen sighed and stepped back 2 steps, turning his head to the side of Gongsun. Linger, they want you, then you can play with them. Gongsun nodded silently and took 2 steps forward, replacing Yang Chen in his position. Yang Chen let Gongsun go out, of course, it was also for her to gain experience, although the path of cultivation was not to kill, but the combat experience was indispensable. The 4 peak Jidan stage masters in front of them seemed okay for Gongsun to be able to handle them. Don't look at it that Gongsun was just in the early Jidan stage. When it comes to cultivation aptitude, Gongsun was no worse than Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu. In the past, she did not have the resources owned by the 2 fairy sects. Secondly, it was also her direction of cultivation which was wrong, but this life could be completely different. With Yang Chen's strong support and pointers, Gongsun has embarked on a completely different path. The 5th Earth True Secret Art, coupled with the highest mystery Yin Yang Heart Sutra, these two have already taken Gongsun combat power to a position where she could fight with peak Jidan stage masters. Brush, a powerful sword shadow, swept from the front of the 4 people and directly shocked the 4 people. Involuntarily jumping backwards and far away, each of them sacrificed a magic weapon. Gongsun sword only swept the space in front of them, but she did not follow the attack. Instead, in the face of the 4 people's anger and stunned eyes, a table and a chair were taken from her Qianqin bag. She placed it next to Yang Chen. After Yang Chen sat down, she changed the tricks and took out a few dishes from the Qianqin bag, all kinds of tableware were available. After doing all this, Gongsun Ling went up to face the four masters in the peak Jidan stage, and there was a burst of eye-catching light in her eyes. What was this? The four masters, who were shocked by Gongsun Ling's actions, finally understood what Gongsun Ling was doing. She turned out to be fighting at the moment to prepare for the early Jidan kid so that he could eat the side dishes and watch the battle while also drinking. What does she think of them? Boundless anger directly rushed to the minds of the four peak Jidan stage masters. From birth to the present, even if they met their current master, they did not feel that they were so insulted. Without any protection, a Jidan stage master ignored their battle as a performance to provide wine. Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling were really naive, or was there not any fear in them? Gongsun Ling couldn't speak like Yang Chen. Before Yang Chen dealt with them, as Yang Chen's wife, Gongsun Ling certainly wanted to help her own family, and now her husband let her face the enemy. Gongsun Ling had no plans to hold back. The fascination array was instantly stimulated and the figure of Gongsun Ling disappeared silently in place. After the cognition of the Mountain River geographical map and the content that Yang Chen talked with her these days, Gongsun Ling comprehended more about the confusing array. What kind of confusing array could match the real world of the Mountain River geographical map? The four Jidan stage masters saw that the figure of Gongsun Ling suddenly disappeared. No matter how they urged their spiritual awareness, they could not detect the position of Gongsun Ling. Only a moment, the four experienced peak Jidan stage masters knew what to do. Yang Chen was there and he made no movement at all. They didn't even know where he got a pot of wine. He poured a cup and took it slowly. As long as they attacked Yang Chen, Gongsun Ling would have no reason to hide. The four people did not know how many years they had cooperated, they already had a very tacit understanding. Almost at the same time, the magic weapons of four people went to Yang Chen. Attacking the enemy's weakness to force him into action, such things, they were already familiar with it and could no longer be more familiar with it. It was a pity that this kind of attack that has just been sent out at the speed of light, it has not yet arrived by Yang Chen's side, but the four people felt a fierce sword kai behind each other. With their many years of experience, they immediately knew that if they didn't evade, they would definitely not end well. Without thinking, the four people brought back the magic weapons they used to attack Yang Chen and greeted the oncoming sword kai. Everyone's movements were very fast. Clank, four sounds were heard almost at the same time. After the sword kai and the magic weapons collided, they were smashed away. But the four Jidan stage masters did not get the advantage and everyone's face showed a cautious look. Four peak Jidan stage masters with their tacit understanding didn't gain any advantage against a blow from an early Jidan stage junior. What was this concept? The four people couldn't imagine it. Why was the little guy in the early Jidan stage so fierce? They have seen a lot of geniuses that could leapfrog their level to challenge others at a higher level, but that was only for a small level, the extreme limit was only two small levels to challenge the other. In general, even if the early Jidan stage master reached the limit, they could only compete with the guys in the late Jidan stage. They have never seen or even heard of an early Jidan stage master jumping three smaller levels and challenging masters of the peak Jidan stage, and it was still against four people. But this was not complete, countless sword light as dense raindrops appeared from all directions, attacking the faces of the four people. Even if their combat experience was richer, the four people have not seen such a dense sword light attack, which has already subverted the limits of their cognition. You have to know that there was no sword array here and they would not have given Gongsun Ling the time to arrange the sword array. But this kind of dense attack, apart from the sword array, they still couldn't think of any possibility. It was not possible to run around the four masters of the peak Jidan stage, the speed of one's movement cannot be so fast. There was no other possibility than the array. But knowing that it was a battle in an array, the four people had nothing to do now. The arrays they have seen, there were traces to follow, the flag of the array, the characters which preside over the law, even if they were in the array, there was always a clear understanding that they were in the formation. However, now they were in the same place, obviously not in the same place, and there was no feeling of being in the formation. But they could face the attack of the array. How could this not let the four people be shocked? What was even more shocking was that whether they were deliberate attacks or the attack that the woman blocked, some aftermath flew to the side of Yang Chen, who was drinking and watching the show, but it seems to suddenly fall into nothingness. In general, it disappeared without a trace. Gongsun Ling's attack has never stopped and the attack was getting stronger and stronger. The four peak Jidan stage guys have become more and more serious. The bodies of several people have already leaned together, but they still couldn't completely resist the overwhelming attacks of Gongsun Ling. The four masters have already had a lot of bloody marks, they had to stop the deadly attacks and ignore some other unimportant places. According to this situation, there was only one outcome waiting for them, that was, their spiritual power would be exhausted and the opponent would kill them on the spot. All of the four people were racking their brains, but they couldn't understand how Gongsun Ling, a junior in the early Jidan stage, how could she have such a large spiritual power? The four people have been exhausted and even started taking medicinal pills to recover with spirit stones, which was barely able to recover them and block only attacks to their key points. But Gongsun Ling's attack has not weakened, it even strengthened. Even fools would understand that they have kicked big iron plates this time. Yang Chen has not yet made a move, and Gongsun Ling has already forced them to be so embarrassed. The guy who made the remarks, his heart has long been regretful. If he knew this earlier, why would he bother to say those unreasonable words? Yang Chen had been very polite, and they had to bully him. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 384. Puppet. When the four people were all lying on the ground and could not move, the figure of Gongsun Ling appeared on the side. The sword in her hand swayed, the guy who had just been speaking to them, his head directly fell to the ground clean and neat, she was not soft. Another guy who said something that was unpleasant was not able to speak at the moment. As for the master who was dealing with Yang Chen at the beginning, he was feeling as bad as it was. When Yang Chen talked with them with politeness, they did not know how to cherish it, and the two companions also made threatening statements. They even wanted to make Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling stay behind as slaves. This kind of thing couldn't be placed on anyone who could endure it. The other party only let Gongsun Ling make a move, and she defeated them. The situation in front of them was not good. Scoffs, Gongsun Ling, under Yang Chen's training, didn't have the soft feelings of her previous life. Even if these opponents have fallen to the ground, each of them has added a sword, completely letting them ruin any luck. I am a bit curious now, who is your master? Yang Chen was sitting there, still holding a glass of wine, and didn't even seem concerned. He just looked at them on the ground where they were thrown by Gongsun Ling. Not far from the three living guys, he slowly asked, since he has a liking for my wife, I want to know his name. When Yang Chen was asking, Gongsun Ling had already picked up the Qianqin bags from the four people and began to check the spoils. With Yang Chen, Gongsun Ling did these things in the demonic sect domain. Every time, he was very excited and happy. The three people lying down were basically gone. They were still alive, it was because of Gongsun Ling holding back. You must know that Gongsun Ling's sword array was powered by the top-grade spirit stones that Yang Chen gave, not to mention the 4 peak Jidan stage masters. Even if they were 4 Yuning stage masters, they could fight for dozens of months without it being consumed. When they met Gongsun Ling, they were unlucky from then on. Filling you will depend on yourself. At this point, where would the three people still have the arrogance from before? The guy who spoke knew that there was no fortune and could only throw a swear word. Of course, the swear words here, but their mind has already told the dead guy how many times he cursed. People were polite because they have the confidence, but he still had to scream that he would make his wife a cauldron. He rushed to court death and also implicate his companions. I am a reasonable person. Yang Chen slowly took a drink of the jade dragon wine and then continued to speak. In fact, I do not like means to make people talk. The slow voice, at this moment, there was a pressure behind it that couldn't be described, so that the three people lying down couldn't fight back. Which person is your master? I just need to go to the place where you don't want me to go, and I will know, so your insistence doesn't mean anything. Yang Chen was holding an unknown monster meat and drinking another small cup of jade dragon wine, and he said, this for me, it is actually a matter of not knowing for a while longer. Of course, if you cannot say, I am not in a hurry. Yang Chen then said slowly. I admire your loyalty to your master, but since your lord is still retreating, he must be afraid of people coming to bother him. Now, you can tell me, is there anyone inside? After all these things were finished, Yang Chen did not care what the three people thought and directly said his request. My master is the alchemist Master Gao Jing. Finally the middle guy opened his mouth. Master is refining a furnace of important medicinal pills there and cannot be disturbed. We were wrong and have offended you, I ask for your excellency to forgive us. Alchemy? In this place where even birds don't defecate? Yang Chen sighed and asked strangely when he heard the reply, what is he making? There is no spiritual pulse here, how many spirit stones would be needed to compensate? Since the other party opened up, Gongsun Ling also stopped the action in her hand and returned to Yang Chen's side. She was also obviously attracted by this issue. Because the alchemy here has a higher success rate than other places. The three ground guys have not answered yet, and a strange voice said. Then, the figure appeared opposite to Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling, standing on the ground 3 steps behind. The appearance of a Yuning stage master, standing on the opposite side with his hands behind his back, proudly standing opposite Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling, seems to not care answering Yang Chen's questions. He just looked down at the 3 guys lying there and turned around and looked at the one who had lost his head in the distance and frowned and said, useless thing. It turns out that you are their lord. Yang Chen still didn't mean to stand up. He looked up at the sudden appearance of the Yuning stage master and shook his head. I get the chance to lay my eyes on you. They certainly don't dare to say the identity of this old man to you. After the emergence of the Yuning stage master, he seemed to have decided to kill Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling, he slowly said. They did not let you in, it was good for you. But since if you toast and don't eat and drink fine wine, then don't blame the old man for being ruthless. You killed the third child, indicating that your cultivation base is not bad. If you like, you can replace the position of the third child and be a slave to this old man. The Yuning stage master stared at Yang Chen, he seems to be talking about trivial matters, then he turned to Gongsun Ling. This girl is not bad, this old man still lacks a cauldron, this wilderness can also be more fun with her here. The Yuning stage master did not give Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling the opportunity to speak again. When these words were spoken, it was as if they were justified. Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling had been left by him at the mercy of the general tone. Is it finished? Yang Chen sat in the chair and did not move his ass, staring at the Yuning stage master. I have. The Yuning stage master sneered and said. This old man usually does not give people a chance, don't miss it. Sure enough, what kind of slaves do you want? Yang Chen also sneered, this guy appeared arrogant and told Yang Chen that alchemy here could increase the success rate, obviously he had no intention of letting Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling leave. However, Yang Chen had long discovered the existence of this guy, has been waiting until now, he just wanted to know why. Since he knew that alchemy here was weird, it was obviously related to the medicine nourishing gourd. At this point, this guy has no effect at all. Raising his hand, Yang Chen made a gesture of goodbye. The other party glanced at it and then a grey light, thunder and lightning from the bottom to the top of the Yuning stage master. Gongsun Ling had long been reminded by Yang Chen when the three of them spoke, so she returned to Yang Chen's side. Just near the position where the Yuning stage master appeared, she left her own praying mantis puppet underground. The praying mantis puppets were discovered by Yang Chen and Sun Qingxu in a certain secret plane, all of which had Yuning stage cultivation bases. Yang Chen gave it to many people in the sect and both his master and apprentice sister had one. The refining of the puppets was later re-refined by Wang Yong and the power was almost comparable to that of the praying mantis's cultivation base when it was alive. Moreover, the puppet itself did not have any vitality and it had the earth attribute. If it was hidden under the land, without a strong spiritual awareness like Yang Chen's, it was impossible to find it even if he was standing on it. Yang Chen waved his hand and Gongsun Ling controlled the praying mantis puppet to attack. The main means of attack of these praying mantis were its two arms, between the waves, it was very fast. Even when Yang Chen first entered the secret plane, he was almost killed and he had to use his body protecting magic weapon to save his life. The appearance of the Yuning stage master shelf was large, his tone was very arrogant, but his strength was not very good. He was not like Sun Qingxu, who had a master of the Daching stage to prepare a body protecting magic weapon for her, and he did not have such a strong means like Yang Chen's body protection method. The two arms had already passed the body of the Yuning stage master before he reacted. But no matter what reaction he made, it was too late, the praying mantis brushed its two knife-like arms and slashed across the waist and turned the other side into four quarters. When the four bloody chunks landed, the three people on the ground did not react at all. After finally understanding what had happened, the three people screamed with uncontrollable fear. How could they not be shocked? Their savior, the savior in their hearts, was slain in front of them. They didn't even have the chance to escape. Is there something more frustrating and desperate than this? However, their screams did not last long. The mantis just cut with one hand and turned the three people lying down into 6 segments. The screaming sound stopped. Gongsun Ling went to clean up the Qianqin bag of the Yuning stage master. Yang Chen was thinking about whether the discovery of the alchemist master was related to the medicine nourishing gourd. According to the facts, here was not a place with spiritual power, nor a place for the production of elixir. Apart from the medicine nourishing gourd, Yang Chen couldn't think of any reason to improve the success rate of refining medicinal pills. Obviously, the other party does not know the real reason or has not had time to know the real reason. The Yuning stage master and 4 slaves appeared here and it was estimated that they were asking for the alchemist master to refine a pill. The blockade of this place was definitely to make the alchemist master have a better alchemy, but they were not lucky. The place where the bird does not lay eggs, there were even such masters as Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling. The purpose of this trip was to collect the medicine nourishing gourd. Yang Chen certainly would not leave this kind of thing to others. Even if others found out, Yang Chen would make a move to snatch it. No one appeared in front of him again and soon Yang Chen arrived at the place where the medicine nourishing gourd was. Not as far as Yang Chen expected, on the top of the mountain, a Yuning stage alchemist master was sitting on a flat ground, carefully controlling a well-looking pill furnace, and the eye-catching process seemed to have reached the key time. It seems that this person should be the alchemist master Gao Jing that the people mentioned. It's inaccessible, Gao Jing was concentrating, and he doesn't know who he was. After waiting for a while, it seems that just after an important joint, the alchemist master breathed a sigh of relief and looked up, just to see Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling in the distance. Not the original Yuning stage master, Gao Jing's heart was shocked, and the control of the pill furnace was somewhat out of control. A loud bang came out, and a black smoke broke out from the pill furnace. This kind of medicinal pill was a refining waste. Gao Jing's mind was agile. This was not his old friend, but two strangers. My old friend recently received a message to deal with a guy who came, but now he has not returned. What happened was almost certain. He did not control the dregs in the pill furnace. Gao Jing used the quickest action to put the pill furnace away and then turned around without turning back. He also seems to have a good flying magic weapon on his hand and instantly escaped dozens of miles away. He is smart. Yang Chen took Gongsun Ling and landed on the flat ground where Gao Jing was. As soon as they breathed, the smell of the dregs entered their nose. Anyang grass, dragon fruit, snort, this is to refine the second-grade spirit calming pill. The drug has been integrated, condensed and not scattered. The second-grade spirit calming pill has not succeeded. After mentioning a series of herbs names, Yang Chen had been able to judge what kind of medicinal pill was being refined by the other party for the second-grade spirit calming pill. If he can't control the fire in time. If he was scared, he will refine a waste. It is not so good to think about the level. At most, it is the level of a third-grade alchemist master. The name Gao Jing, Yang Chen had never heard of it before, and it was obvious that he was not a famous person. A third-grade alchemist master, Yang Chen was still not afraid of offending. Here was where the medicine-nourishing gourd was, but obviously the other party did not find this. It was no wonder that standing here, no matter how the exploration of the spiritual awareness, he could not detect any abnormalities. It was normal to not find it. It was already a very good chance to be aware that the success rate of alchemy here was higher. Here is the place where you said the medicine-nourishing gourd was. Gongsun Ling looked around carefully. Her spiritual awareness explored, but she could not find the medicine-nourishing gourd, and she could not feel the aura of any magic weapon. She started to have some doubts. Of course. Yang Chen was originally confused, but soon saw the location of the medicine-nourishing gourd and answered Gongsun Ling. After Gongsun Ling looked at it again, there was still no discovery. She could only ask Yang Chen where. It's at our feet. Yang Chen replied with a smile, pointing to the position under his feet. Here? Gongsun Ling's spiritual awareness quickly explored below and continued to explore dozens of feet. She did not find the slightest abnormality, once again turned her confused eyes to Yang Chen, waiting for Yang Chen's explanation. If you fly a little further, you may see it clearly. Yang Chen smiled and pointed out. Gongsun Ling said nothing. Immediately she brought the ship and flew out of the distance, carefully looked at the feet of Yang Chen, and finally found the clue. The mountain peak at the foot of Yang Chen was thick on the side and looked round. There was also an annular gully flushed by the torrents near the mountainside. Looking from far away, it was clearly a gourd. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 385. Failure is also an experience. The concept of a magic weapon to Gongsun Ling was the kind that could be controlled in the hands. Even if it was oversized, just like her shipper Yang Chen's shuttle, if it was bigger like Gao Yu's Daching stage puppet, the original shape was hundreds of feet. It was already the biggest magic weapon that Gongsun Ling has ever seen. Although knowing the size of the magic weapon could change with the owner's mind, but this size was also limited to a certain range and was not too exaggerated. But now, Gongsun Ling discovered that her heart was still not big enough and she still couldn't imagine how far the magic weapon was. Even if her own mountain river geographical map could draw the whole world, but its body was just a painting axis that was a few feet long and a few feet wide. How could she think of such a huge magic weapon? The mountain peak was hundreds of feet high and the length of the stretch was almost hundreds of miles. Such a huge mountain peak was a magic weapon. This made Gongsun Ling shocked and began to reflect on her own lack of imagination. Who had stipulated that magic weapons could not be huge? Gongsun Ling wanted to understand this moment. She was a smart person. She suddenly realized that she was on the point of comprehending and sat down directly to start retreating. Yang Chen said nothing but rushed up, throwing a questioning inner heart pill in the mouth of Gongsun Ling and then sitting on her side to protect her. It was rare that there was such an opportunity for epiphany. Yang Chen certainly would not let Gongsun Ling miss it. Bao Jing has been scared away, there would be no more people to disturb them in a short time. He did not know how long it would take for Gongsun Ling to complete a retreat. Yang Chen simply began to collect the medicine-nourishing gourd. Before the collection, Yang Chen was still fully prepared. 24 Penglai divine wood monsters surrounded Gongsun Ling and the ship directly in accordance with the position of the heavenly cycle constellation Great Formation. At this time, the Penglai divine wood monsters had a peak foundation stage cultivation base. Under the nourishment of the first wood true essence spiritual liquid, they would be able to impact the Jitan stage in a few years. The 24 Penglai divine wood monsters were connected with each other. Once the heavenly cycle constellation Great Formation was arranged, even if it was a master of the mid-Yuning stage, they would not necessarily be able to break through easily. The tree monsters were so powerful that you could see some clues from Gi Shanyu. The Penglai divine wood monsters and Yang Chen have the connection of a master and servant. Once someone breaks into this circle, Yang Chen would know immediately. In the middle of the heavenly cycle constellation Great Formation, it was the 5-party array arranged by Wan Qian's 5 female apprentices, who also protected Gongsun Ling and the ship. Even if there was any strong enemy, Gongsun Ling would not be hurt. After all this was arranged, Yang Chen began to collect the medicine nourishing gourd. Yang Chen had not come to collect it before because he was not strong enough. The immortal who left the medicine nourishing gourd at that time said that if Yang Chen's cultivation base was less than the Yuning stage, he should never expect to be able to collect it. Now Yang Chen's entire attribute spirit power has achieved condensed Dan. According to the calculation of the heaven measuring ruler, his spiritual power cultivation base has been more than 3000 degrees, far beyond the limits of the general Yuning stage master. For the collection of the medicine nourishing gourd, it was more than enough. However, Yang Chen was still fully prepared, even if he has the means of collecting, but he was not a real Yuning stage master. In terms of spiritual power transfer, there was still a certain gap with a Yuning stage master, so Yang Chen prepared a large number of 7th metal, true essence liquid. After he came to the brains of the medicine nourishing gourd. The method of collecting with a secret technique was very complicated. The complete secret technique required Yang Chen to complete hundreds of charms one after another, and each time, Yang Chen needed the spiritual power of his whole body to condense a charm. It takes more than one day to complete it. The Yuning stage was the minimum level that could be used to collect the medicine nourishing gourd, but it was not said that the Yuning stage master would be able to collect it. Switching to anyone else, even if they were in the Yuning stage, it was not an easy task to condense such a charm. It was necessary to control the spiritual power of the whole body and condense it into a delicate charm. It was almost impossible to condense successfully without the control of a spiritual power in the late Yuning stage or even the peak Yuning stage. This was not only a need for spiritual power, but also an extreme requirement for control. The medicine nourishing gourd was used by the alchemist masters, and for the alchemist master, it was the basic skills to be able to master the alchemy heat. What was needed for the medicine nourishing gourd was at least the 3rd grade alchemist master who could control the refining of the 3rd grade spirit pill. If this was not possible, he was not qualified to use the medicine nourishing gourd. At this point, Yang Chen was very clear about it, and he himself has reached this requirement. Even so, the condensation of each charm still needed the devotion of Yang Chen's whole mind, which was almost the limit that Yang Chen could do in this situation. Every time a magical character condensed successfully, it took a day and a half for Yang Chen, and this was supplemented by the continuous supply of the 7th metal, true essence liquid. If this was not the case, in this spirit power scarce land, he could either use a large amount of medicinal pills or use a large number of spirit stones, otherwise it could squeeze dry the people who wanted to collect it, as long as he condensed dozens of magic symbols. This was another test. As an alchemist master, either the medicinal pill was sufficient or he was very rich. If these two things were done, he was a true alchemist master. The little guys who have just learned a little bit of alchemy was completely unqualified. With the support of a large amount of 7th metal true essence liquid, Yang Chen could hardly condense a magical symbol without having to rest. Every time one condenses, Yang Chen would drive it into the mountain. Surprisingly, Yang Chen has already completed almost 100 charms, but the mountain that should be a medicine nourishing gourd has not changed at all. He couldn't help but wonder if this mountain was really a medicine nourishing gourd. If it wasn't for the alchemist master Gao Jing telling him that the success rate of alchemy here would increase, even Yang Chen would doubt this. However, with the confirmation of the guy before, Yang Chen has been very sure this mountain was the real medicine nourishing gourd. After 2 years, Gongsun Ling finally woke up and the spirit power of her whole body soared. Through this understanding, she directly broke through the bottleneck of the early Jitan stage and entered the middle Jitan stage. From the beginning of the condensing Dan to the present breakthrough, Gongsun Ling spent almost 50 years. The genius was a genius, Zhanxian, the cold plum fairy. In this ridge, she took almost the same time to enter the middle Jitan stage. The gap between Gongsun Ling and Zhanxian was greatly reduced. After waking up to find Yang Chen's action, Gongsun Ling did not bother Yang Chen, but just looking for an opportunity for Yang Chen to know that she was awake so that he did not have to worry, then Gongsun Ling began to quietly practice, silently waiting for Yang Chen. The day when the gourd collection was completed. 3 years later, Yang Chen finally condensed and completed the last charm and it entered the mountain. With the infusion of the last charm, Yang Chen's body suddenly felt a huge suction force, accompanied by the scream of Gongsun Ling, and he could not help but enter a certain space. This was a very huge space, which was like a lattice, divided into countless small spaces. It was very dense, at least tens of millions. Yang Chen understood that this space was the interior of the medicine-nourishing gourd because it was filled with the smell of Yang Chen's familiar medicine, which was very rich. As long as Yang Chen's mind was moving, it could appear in any grid. Yang Chen knew that every place could store a kind of medicinal pill. The elixir preserved here does not need to use a talisman to block the medicinal properties, the medicinal chi would not be emitted, and the efficacy would be better and better because of the nourishment of the magic weapon. Originally, Yang Chen thought that there would be a lot of peerless medicinal pills in it, but what disappointed Yang Chen was that despite the scent of medicine, Yang Chen did not find any trace of an elixir. It seemed that the owner of the medicine-nourishing gourd just left the gourd and did not leave any elixir. However, among these grids, it was not empty. At least a few million places had some black dross. In the experience of Yang Chen, he realized that these dark things were all dregs. But Yang Chen still didn't understand that such a powerful medicine-nourishing gourd, the owner does not put in medicinal pills, but put so much dregs. What was the reason? The surprise was always in the end, and in the middle of the grid, there were hundreds of jade slips. When Yang Chen first discovered it, he couldn't believe his eyes. In the medicine gourd, there were so many jade slips, what kind of peerless pill recipe could it be? Yang Chen picked up a piece and used his spiritual awareness to explore it and carefully looked at the content. Soon, Yang Chen was somewhat disappointed. In this jade slip, it only recorded the changes of some common herbs under various fires, as well as some changes in the medicinal materials. According to Yang Chen's current alchemy standard, after referring to the profound pill scripture and the elderly lord pill scripture and other scriptures left by several immortals, these things were simple for Yang Chen. These simple medicines, if Yang Chen could control the perfect fire at any time in his hands, there would be no mistakes at all. However, as Yang Chen picked up more and more jade slips, Yang Chen's face began to become more and more cautious and more serious. The contents recorded on these jade slips were basically the same, the only difference was the type of medicinal pills. Later, there were some simple pill recipe combinations, but the contents were all changes in the medicinal materials under various kinds of abnormal conditions, and most of the time, they all ended in failure. However, Yang Chen began to pay attention to it. He also took care of the jade slips as if it were a peerless treasure. It was impossible for Yang Chen not to pay attention to it. He now found out from the things recorded in these jade slips that he seems to have taken a wrong route on the path to alchemy. Despite the elderly lord pill scripture, the profound pill scripture, the pill recipes of the spiritual world and immortal world, and the memory of Yang Chen's own fire attribute spirit root in his previous life, his control of fire could be said to be extraordinary. All this plus the strength of the profound spirit furnace, Yang Chen could almost be said to be the most powerful alchemist master. There were a lot of medicinal pills that could be used as proof, whether it was the questioning inner heart pill, or heaven seizing pill, black tiger yuan replenishing pill, black tiger suppressing pill, kai seeking pill, these could prove that Yang Chen was definitely an advanced alchemist master. Even Yang Chen himself thought so before. Almost every medicinal pill that Yang Chen refined has not failed, all of them were successful. At most, the quality of the medicinal pills were different, the number of medicinal pills released would be different, no medicinal pill has ever been a waste. But after reading the records on these jade slips, Yang Chen discovered that he was not a senior alchemist master in a strict sense. The reason was that Yang Chen has never refined any waste medicinal pills. It sounded ridiculous for this reason, but Yang Chen knew that all of it was now because of the memory of his past life. However, Yang Chen was just a very ordinary alchemist master in his previous life. Perhaps an ordinary alchemist in the heavenly court could indeed be a senior alchemist in the mortal world, but this does not mean that Yang Chen could still have such advantages after he ascends. If it was changed to a pill recipe which Yang has never heard of and some medicinal pills that Yang Chen has never touched, Yang Chen couldn't maintain such a level. Even Yang Chen himself couldn't guarantee it. These detailed jade slips told Yang Chen how real alchemist masters grew up. For each kind of medicinal pill, this master has experimented with different kinds of fires under different circumstances, what kind of mistakes would be formed, and what kind of consequences would result. Similarly, the same was true of the tests in the pill recipe. What kind of mistakes would occur in the cooperation of different medicinal materials in different situations? This was the embodiment of the real basic skills of alchemy. As the saying goes, failure was also an experience. The smooth sailing situation was bound to be not too long lasting. No one was an exception, and one day there would be setbacks and failures. Being able to learn from failures was the most correct attitude. On the path of alchemy, what Yang Chen lacked was precisely a failure. Because of the memory of his previous life, Yang Chen did not know how many failures might be encountered on the path of alchemy. Now, when in the mortal world, Yang Chen could pretend to be a master, but it was really in the spiritual world and the immortal world that Yang Chen would definitely be exposed. What was recorded on these jade slips was the precious alchemy experience of the immortal, and it was still a lot of failure experience. Some were even deliberately failed to learn about the changes in potency in different situations. As for the dregs in the grid, it was the result of these failures. For each test, there was a pile of corresponding dregs left. In the medicine nourishing gourd, these dregs have also been perfectly preserved, ready for Yang Chen to research. Now in the eyes of Yang Chen, even if the place was filled with peerless elixir, it was not as precious as this pile of dregs. With this, Yang Chen could make up for his lack of awareness in medicinal materials to the maximum extent so that Yang Chen could consolidate the foundations that he lacks the most. Even if someone took tens of thousands of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord 9th grade gold core to exchange, Yang Chen would now be reluctant to exchange these medicinal dregs. Until now, did Yang Chen really understand what path he should take on the cultivation of alchemy? If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 386. Reality is more exaggerated than imagination. After a series of magical characters were displayed, Yang Chen had already thoroughly mastered the medicine nourishing gourd. Soon, Yang Chen appeared in the same place, and there was a little purple-red gourd in his hand. The mountain peak that stretched hundreds of miles across the street disappeared in this moment without a trace, showing a huge valley, as if the mountain has never appeared here. When Gongsun Ling found that Yang Chen was missing. She was worried about it for a while, but found that none of the 5 women around her had made any movements, and she was a little relieved. After waiting for about half a day, Yang Chen finally appeared. Although it has been guessed that Yang Chen was going to collect the medicine nourishing gourd, Gongsun Ling still plunged into Yang Chen's arms after seeing Yang Chen. It seemed that only in the arms of Yang Chen, when she smelled the familiar flavor of Yang Chen and felt his warm hug, would give her complete peace of mind. Soon, Gongsun Ling's attention went to the little purple-red gourd in Yang Chen's hand. After watching it for a while, she reached out and touched it. She curiously asked. "This is what you said, the medicine nourishing gourd. Is it very powerful?" "Of course." Yang Chen showed this with practical actions. The achievement ring was opened, all the medicinal pills flew out, and then it was sucked into the gourd at the speed of light. There were dozens of medicinal pills wrapped in layers of talisman which looked familiar to Gongsun Ling. It broke the talisman in front of her and then flew into the gourd. Gongsun Ling was startled on the spot. It was clearly second-grade questioning inner heart pills. She just took one before her retreat, naturally she recognized it clearly. However, although Yang Chen said that it was not a precious thing, but Gongsun Ling still felt it was very precious in her mind, but when she saw this scene, it was still very shocking. It turns out that Yang Chen had so many second-grade questioning inner heart pills, no wonder he took these things for them like they were like ordinary things. Just looking at the medicinal pills that flew into the medicine gourd, the value was already incalculable. Gongsun Ling once again sighed. It seems that the feelings that she had received because of the big gourd were too small. These are the second-grade questioning inner heart pills. She still had to confirm it. It was too shocking, so Gongsun Ling asked aloud. "Yes." Yang Chen smiled and said. "I said, it is not a precious thing. When you need it, you can open it and take some." At the end, it seems that the meaning was still unfinished. Yang Chen added, "There are still many raw materials, no need to save them. After using this batch of second-grade questioning inner heart pills, we will refine the third grade in the future." These words made Gongsun Ling stunned. It seems that the boundary of her imagination was not enough, even without illusions, the facts have not reached the border. If you can come up with another heaven-seizing pill, I believe that there is nothing impossible in this world. Gongsun Ling looked at Yang Chen and said this sentence. Gongsun Ling words would make others sigh, but Yang Chen was very strange after hearing this. A question was revealed in his eyes. It seems to be, "How do you know?" Gongsun Ling was shocked. "You don't really have a heaven-seizing pill, right?" Gongsun Ling was shocked, and there was horror on her face when she asked the sentence. "You can predict accurately, send your apprentice sister." Yang Chen shook his head with some helplessness and sighed. Then, in front of the two, there appeared a jade box. On top of the jade box, it was engraved with the lines of an array. The above was shining with light. At first glance, it was the array that was working. With the eyesight of Gongsun, of course, it could be seen at a glance that this array was a method that could seal up the effects of medicine and trap the things inside the box. Yang Chen opened the jade box without thinking, and then there was a densely shining talisman, and inside it was a small jade box. The same pattern was also engraved on the above, and the effect was still the same. The small jade box was opened again, and it was still wrapped in a talisman, and the inside was a small jade box. At this time, Yang Chen said. "This is the heaven-seizing pill that you said you. Gongsun reached out and covered her surprised cherry mouth. After the 3 consecutive words, almost no other words came out. She finally reacted after a while. She was shocked. "You refined 2 heaven-seizing pills with Elder Wu Xiong's materials." 1. Yang Chen opened the jade box, and a blue-colored dragon medicinal pill appeared in front of Gongsun. "This is the one that was refined for Elder Wu Xiong." It seemed that it felt that the bondage of its whole body has been eliminated. The heaven-seizing pill was shocked, then the medicinal pill suddenly turned into a blue dragon shadow. It planned to fly away. But how could Yang Chen make this kind of mistake? Before the jade box was opened, his spiritual awareness were already covering the surrounding, and the space was firmly locked. The dragon shadow flashed, but it was still in place. It just kept moving and moving, just like living things. Controlling the medicine-nourishing gourd, Yang Chen took the heaven-seizing pill slowly into the gourd. It seems that it felt good about itself in the gourd. The heaven-seizing pill did not struggle and quickly disappeared into the mouth of the gourd. Elder Wu Xiong had experience and confidence in resisting the hurricane wind tribulation, so he did not use the heaven-seizing pill when ascending. When Yang Chen took the heaven-seizing pill into the gourd, he made a sigh of relief and continued to explain to Gongsun it is useless for him to keep it, so he gave it to me as a reward for refining medicinal pills. Gongsun, who has seen the heaven-seizing pill, but still has a feeling that she couldn't believe her eyes. How could this happen? How could it happen? Yang Chen found Ancestor Wang Yong before collecting the medicine-nourishing gourd and asked him to return to the heaven-seizing pill. This was because of the congenital deficiency, so did not spend the hurricane robbery or completed with the help of Elder Wu Xiong and cannot be regarded as a complete state of the capture of the heaven-seizing pill. The medicine-nourishing gourd could maintain the medicinal kai and could nourish the medicinal pills. Because of this, Yang Chen decided to take the heaven-seizing pill into the medicine-nourishing gourd. Maybe before Wang Yong ascends, the heaven-seizing pill would also be able to take advantage of this and slowly improve the quality and restore to its most complete state. Gongsun comprehension was very good, but it limited by her experience. Even if the retreat was successful, it was always artificially set a border for herself. Even if the border was getting bigger and bigger, it was still within the limits. This time, she saw Yang Chen's second-grade questioning inner heart pills and saw a heaven-seizing pill appeared in front of her. Gongsun suddenly realized a truth. It turns out that in the world of cultivation, there was only one that cannot be imagined and cannot be done. The understanding of a thought suddenly let Gongsun state of mind rise again. Before she thought she had some insights, and now she found out that she was still a frog at the bottom of the well. Reality was more exaggerated than imagination. It can be said that going out and practicing was indeed a very reasonable thing. This time, Gongsun completely asked for the ambiguity of imagination. After the sea was wide, the sky was high and the birds were flying. Nothing could limit the imagination of Gongsun. After all the medicinal pills of Yang Chen were collected into the medicine-nourishing gourd, both of them had great gains. There was nothing to be had here, and soon the two set foot on the way back. After 3.5 years out, Yang Chen and Gongsun did not know that the master of the palace visit to the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island had already caused an uproar in Dao sect's domain. If placed in the past, if the Pure Yang Palace dared to make such requests, the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island absolutely would have directly sent a few masters to the Pure Yang Palace. The roots of the Pure Yang Palace would be uprooted and there would be no grass left. Wasn't it a blatant insult? However, the current Pure Yang Palace and Yang Chen were not the same as before, so that when they knew the purpose of the palace master for coming, the two sects had a grand reception ceremony, which only the treatment of the sect's honored guests would receive. The marriage seeking of the head of the palace was very formal. Not only did the master of the palace personally go to the two major sects, but also brought two elders with generous gifts for them. When the news came out, everyone was in an uproar. No matter whether it was the Blue Cloud sect or the Green Jade Immortal Island, there was no answer from them on the spot. Both parties should discuss with their respective disciples and ask the two disciples their own meanings before giving an answer. This was the proper attitude. Whether it was Shai Zhanxian or Sun Qingxu, their status in the sect was not low. They were the most important disciple in their sect. There no elder or a sovereign who could order them on this lifelong event. Moreover, these major events were absolutely related to the relationship between the sect. The island lord and sect master could not judge it by themselves, they must also discuss it with the elders. The dowry of the head of the palace was also very useful. There were several second-grade questioning inner heart pills and second-grade inner sensing pills. The two major sects had their own second-grade questioning inner heart pills, but they were reluctant to use it. As for the second-grade inner sensing pills, apart from the Pure Yang Palace, there were no other sects who owned it. All of them were exclusively produced by the Pure Yang Palace, and they must be carefully considered by the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. In the past, the two major sects forced the Pure Yang Palace to give a reply, but now it was reversed. The Pure Yang Palace was waiting for the two major sects to reply to them. In fact, the matter of seeking marriage was also a clear indication of the attitude of the Pure Yang Palace. The next step was to look at the two major sects if they would accept it. Others might think that this was the demonstration of the Pure Yang Palace, but the two sect masters were actually clear about it themselves. This was also a compromise made by the Pure Yang Palace in order not to damage the relationship between the three parties. Otherwise, Yang Chen could only marry his master and apprentice sister, the two major sects would have nothing to say. Sun Qingxu's attitude about it was easy to see. From the beginning, she was active to follow Yang Chen, even if she already knew about Zhanxian, she had never retreated. Zhanxian had a misunderstanding at the beginning, but at the beginning she was mistaken about Yang Chen's strength, but in her later contact with Yang Chen, they also had a tacit understanding, and there was a breakthrough in feelings. Zhanxian also vowed that she would not marry anyone else, it seems that it was also the meaning of consent. The attitude of the two women, their sects were basically clear about it, but if Yang Chen wanted the two beauties, then the two major sects couldn't accept it. For Yang Chen, the elders of the two sects were hateful and admired him, and even regretted why such a disciple was not in their own sects. In recent years, from Yang Chen, the two major sects have also received a lot of benefits, such as medicinal pills, 8 metal, true secret art and medicinal herbs from the sea. Not to mention the recent secret plane events, but these were enough to make the two top sects satisfied. What's more, the Black Tiger predecessors left a revelation after visiting the two major sects. Yang Chen seems to be able to treat the wounds of the Daching stage masters in a targeted manner. The Daching stage masters would hardly care too much about any general injuries, their cultivation base was enough to heal themselves. However, if the injury was serious enough, the cultivation base wouldn't be sufficient. The Black Tiger's predecessor suffering over the past few hundred years was evidence. Yang Chen could treat the injury of the Daching stage masters, although these injured masters were not very obedient masters, but they were also masters of the Daching stage, were they not the best fighting power in the mortal world? Even if they were not obedient, won't it be sufficient if they don't betray the sect? What's more, once this time, the island master and sect master Lu had to face up and ask people to help them treat the injury. In any case, they would change their attitude. Because there were several masters who had already perished, their overall strength was not enough to compete with their sect masters. After the cure, they would not look down on them. The most important thing was that, in the Daching realm, the thought of them eventually fighting for power and profit would become weaker unless there was no hope of them ascending. But the problem was that sect master Lu and the island master had questioning inner heart pill, and that was the second grade questioning inner heart pill. This was definitely a precious thing that could make people ascend. Under such circumstances, they would never have any second grade questioning inner heart pill again. Therefore, the two major sects still needed Yang Chen to help with treatment. This has led to the fact that it was not appropriate to anger the Pure Yang Palace, no matter what the circumstances. Their disciples were happy, the sects also wanted help from Yang Chen, so this matter was actually very easy to set. However, the two major sects naturally have their face to uphold. The two sides have a tacit agreement to make a decision of the sect and also to complete the decision of Yang Chen and the two women. The Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island formally responded to the Pure Yang Palace and each proposed two requirements. As long as Yang Chen could do it, then the two women would marry him. If Yang Chen couldn't do it, then when it would be done, that was when the two women would marry. Of course, this requirement was made in the name of the Cold Plum Fairy and Snow Fairy. He wanted the two beauties, won't the two fairy make a small request? The request of Zhanxian was that Yang Chen must be able to defeat her personally and she would commit to marry. Sun Qingxu's demand was that Yang Chen must be able to refine a 5th grade pill. Both sides had a common request, that was, after the marriage, whether it was Gao Yu Gongsunling, Zhanxian or Sun Qingxu, there would be no difference in their status. Everyone was a wife and there would be no concubine. The reply was given very officially and did not conceal from anyone. When the reply of the two major sects came out, it suddenly caused a shock to the entire Dao sects. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 387. A toad wanting to eat swan meat. What made everyone shocked was that two super sects like the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island actually allowed their own genius disciples to commit themselves at the same time, and this person was still only a second-rate sect's disciple. Although there was a slight achievement in alchemy, it should not be enough to make people pay attention to him. Equally shocking was the request made by the two fairies. For there being no difference between them, it could be done easily. With the appearance of the two fairies and their background, it was impossible for someone to take the two women as a concubine. But the other request put forward by the two fairies were obviously impossible to attain. Yang Chen must personally defeat the cold plum fairy Zhanxian, which was almost impossible in the eyes of many people. It must be known that when Yang Chen entered the Pure Yang Palace and began to cultivate, Zhanxian had to condense her golden dan. After such a long period of cultivation, even if Yang Chen has entered the early Jidan stage, Zhanxian has long entered the late Jidan stage. Let Yang Chen, a boy who just entered the early Jidan stage, challenge the famous Cold Plum Fairy, who was famous for fighting in the mortal world. It was not known whether this was the Green Jade Immortal Island helping Yang Chen or deliberately embarrassing Yang Chen. Don't look at it that Zhanxian was only in the late Jidan stage, but in the past 100 years, Zhanxian almost spent it in battle, and the masters of the Yuning stage who died in her hands was more than one. With her rich experience of combat, she was second to none in people with the same age. Zhanxian's combat power simply could not be judged by her realm. Anyone who knew the character of Zhanxian knew that since Zhanxian has made such a request, it means that Zhanxian would never hold back during the battle and would definitely go all out. In contrast, Yang Chen, the opponent of Zhanxian, he had a duel with a fellow in the Kai refining stage on the heavenly stairs and then had a duel with Li Qingchen of the Greatest Heaven sect. Although both duels ended in victory, everyone knew that Yang Chen was by no means a good fighter. This point could be seen from Yang Chen's acceptance of the challenge every time he accepts the challenge. If it was not a guilty conscience, how could he admit defeat for the second time? Saying that he was not suitable for people to challenge, only accept the life and death duel, this was even more slippery. Who does not know that the challenge of life and death could only be raised by the low-level party? And the challenge of life and death that was lower than oneself, who was not afraid of it? If you don't mention this, just look at Yang Chen's body shape and you would know that it was very strong and he was obviously winning by strength. Zhanxian, who was experienced in combat, if he relied on brute force, it was courting death. Moreover, Yang Chen was famous for his reputation as an alchemist. In this regard, Yang Chen indeed was very good and no one could deny it. However, since the road to alchemy was so proficient, there was a slight lack of battle. This was not incomprehensible, no one could master all the paths of cultivation. Don't look at it that Yang Chen has entered the Jidan realm, but everyone absolutely guessed that Yang Chen promoted by his own refining medicinal pills, no one would doubt this. The people who promoted by medicinal pills had a low fighting power. This was already a common thing, if you ask someone else, you would be ridiculed. Even some people in the Greatest Heaven sect were aware of this. Although the Greatest Heaven sect sent a lot of Yuning stage masters to assassinate Yang Chen, so far no one was successful, but the people of the Greatest Heaven sect felt that Yang Chen had bought a few peerless masters to protect himself with pills. Although everyone heard that Yang Chen was once chased by a master of the late Daching stage and he successfully escaped, that had nothing to do with Yang Chen's combat effectiveness. The gap between the two sides was so huge that under the circumstances that Zhanxian does not hold back, if Yang Chen wanted to defeat Zhanxian, it would be absolutely impossible. Not to mention that now, even in the distant future, it was impossible. Even Yang Chen's combat power would grow in the future, were it true that the genius Cold Plum Fairy Zhanxian would be in the same place. It was a joke. On the other hand, the requirements of Sun Qingsu was even more amazing. It sounded very simple, any kind of medicinal pill could be refined. However, people who knew the difficulty of alchemy would not think so. It was not necessary to mention how difficult it was to refine the 5th grade pill. It was only with one fact that it was very difficult to explain how difficult Yang Chen's problems were. In the history of the mortal world, the 4th grade was the highest level of alchemy. The standard for the promotion of the 4th grade alchemist master was that a certain kind of 4th grade medicinal pill had to be refined. A certain kind of medicinal pill was any medicinal pill. That is to say, as long as the simplest kind of medicinal pill was refined to 4th grade, he could become a 4th grade alchemist master. 5th grade refining system, as long as it succeeds, no matter what kind of medicinal pill it was, it means that the alchemist master has reached the realm of the 5th grade alchemist masters. Since there were only 4th grade alchemist masters in the history of the highest level of alchemy in the mortal world, then Yang Chen, who was not the most talented alchemist master, how could he become a 5th grade alchemist master? The WWS not so much that Zhanxian and Sun Qingsu gave Yang Chen a chance. It was better to say that the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island refused the marriage of the Pure Yang Palace in this way. In this way, everyone would not be hurt, it was also a comfortable situation, except that Yang Chen would be a little depressed. Everyone thought this way, except for Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling. Even the elders and the palace master who knew some of Yang Chen's secrets were of the same mind. Fighting Zhanxian. Don't look at Yang Chen who once killed the second city master at Daching stage, don't look at Yang Chen who has killed 6 Yuanying stage masters from the greatest heaven sect. Don't look at Yang Chen's killing of more than a dozen Yuanying stage and Peak Jidan stage killers. However, one-on-one personally defeating Zhanxian, it seems that everyone was not optimistic about Yang Chen's chances. As for becoming a 5th grade alchemist master, it was already a difficult problem for those who have come before. The palace master and several elders who received the reply of the 2 major sects even thought that the euphemisms of the 2 major sects was refusal. The elders and the palace master of the Pure Yang Palace were all having such thoughts, not to mention the onlookers who watched the events on the sidelines. The toad wanted to eat swan meat. This was the idea of Yang, which was unanimously thought of by other people, it was why Yang Chen came to seek for marriage. They were worried about the face of the 2 major sects, so no one dared to speak out so blatantly. A second-rate sect, a small alchemist master, dared to think about receiving these 2 beauties together. The 2 sects didn't directly attack them, it was already giving face to their cooperation. Did he really think that Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu would not be able to find other Dao companion besides him? After knowing this reply, many sects and rogue cultivators visited the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island to immediately seek marriage with the 2 fairies. These people's courtship was naturally 1,000 times more sincere than that of the Pure Yang Palace. The children of their own family, with all their looks and loyalty, would definitely regard the 2 fairies as treasures. Of course, the most correct attitude was that they only ask for a fairy, never expecting a double harvest. However, for these requests for marriage visits, the 2 major sects refused. This made many people look awkward on the face, but because of the 2 major sects, they dare not display their displeasure, they could only endure. Someone soon realized their mistake was that they were too hasty. The 2 major sects have just given a formal reply to the Pure Yang Palace. There was also no reply from the Pure Yang Palace, so for them to entertain another group was a bit much. Even if Yang Chen was not necessarily able to do the 2 things, at least other people have not done it yet. To defeat Zhanxian, you must first stand in front of the cold plum fairy to stand a chance. To refine the alchemy, you must also prepare for refining. The Pure Yang Palace did not do anything here, they thought that the 2 major sects had rejected the Pure Yang Palace, which was the error. After all, the Pure Yang Palace was still an ally of the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island. At this time, it was obvious that the relationship between the 3 should not be provoked. Smart people should not make such stupid things. After recognizing the mistakes they made, the refusal of the 2 major sects, those who came to the sect to seek for marriage, did not have any complaints, they could wait for this matter to settle after they could come again. When Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling returned to the Pure Yang Palace 3 months later, this matter has passed for more than 2 years. The winds of the outside world have been worn a little bit. Yang Chen, things are a little troublesome. When Yang Chen and Gongsun Ling met Gao Yu also had some frowns. Although Gao Yu has an absolute grasp of Yang Chen in her heart, this was related to the reputation of Yang Chen, and Gao Yu was also worried. After listening to Gao Yu finish all the passages, Gongsun Ling finally understood why Gao Yu felt a little trouble. However, after Yang Chen went out this time, Gongsun Ling suddenly felt that these 2 conditions did not seem to be completely impossible. This was not because Gongsun Ling wants to think about her own interests, but she understands it completely. When there were things that she doesn't even think about, she certainly can't do it. But once the shackles were released, the world does not seem to have so many absolute things. No matter, these are the little things. Yang Chen smiled and comforted his master. Just these 2 small requirements, it will not be more difficult than finding a few dragon horns and dragon skin scrolls. The words made Gao Yu 100 times more confident. At least in her cognition, Yang Chen has already completed many things that have never been done before, and it seemed that it was not a big deal. When he went to meet with the head of the palace appeared that he couldn't stand Yang Chen's appearance. It seemed that he couldn't help Yang Chen to get the 2 women, so he was absolutely ashamed to face Yang Chen. The decision of the 2 major sects, I can't understand it now. The head of the palace said truthfully to Yang Chen, now that he was talking to Yang Chen, his tone was like they were from the same generation, if outsiders saw it, it would be a big surprise for them. Both the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island did not intend to sever their cooperation with the Pure Yang Palace, but gave such a problem to Yang Chen, even if he was in charge of the palace, he could not see the meaning of it and did not understand how the 2 masters were considering the situation. Yang Chen had already thought about this problem before, but in his view, the two major sects did not mean to fall under the pure Yang Palace. In this case, these two so-called conditions must be debatable, or what was tricky in them. Look at it and change it. Yang Chen did not understand for a moment, he certainly would not think that his own trump card has been seen through by the two major gates, so he couldn't guess this for the time being. After receiving the medicine-nourishing gourd, Yang Chen temporarily stayed in the sect. The jade slips and dregs left in the medicine-nourishing gourd were simply what Yang Chen dreamed of. Yang Chen needed a period of time to completely digest and absorb these things, laying the foundation for his own impact on the peak of alchemy. It was rare that Yang Chen did not directly retreat, but directly rushed to the medicinal hall and issued a task to sect disciples through the sect and acquired a large number of common medicinal materials for his own experience. With Yang Chen's ability to control fire and with as many as hundreds of flames in the profound spirit furnace, Yang Chen could completely invest a large amount of medicinal materials at one time, but each medicinal material could be dispersed in the profound spirit furnace. In different areas, refining with different flames, Yang Chen fully and thoroughly understand the changes in the medicinal properties under various conditions. Without Yang Chen's metamorphosis of his spiritual awareness and the ability to control fire, if there was no such thing as the powerful function of the profound spirit furnace, this couldn't be done at all. Yang Chen needed to consume a lot of medicinal materials, which was based on this consideration. At the beginning, Yang Chen of course first recorded the contents recorded in the jade slips. At the same time, when reading the jade slips, he carefully observed the corresponding dregs and recorded the changes in those herbs. However, these were all things recorded on the jade slips. When he really wanted to get through, Yang Chen needed to do a lot of experiments himself to experience it himself. If he didn't personally experience these things, the more content he remembers was nothing more than a piece of paper. It takes at least a few years to study this part carefully, and the next experiment could be calculated by the time spent in 100 years. Just before Yang Chen had just studied the jade slips in the Pure Yang Palace for more than a month, Zhanxian, a gentle plum fairy, and Sun Qingxu, a snow fairy, came to the Pure Yang Palace to see Yang Chen. Sun Qingxu had a faint sorrow on her face. When she saw Yang Chen, she seemed to be unable to restrain herself. She plunged into Yang Chen's arms and burst into tears. She did not have any style of the dancing snow fairy. I did not mention the request for a 5th grade medicinal pill, which was proposed by the sect master. Sun Qingxu was crying while she said this, how could she not want to marry Yang Chen? Even if she shared Yang Chen with other women, Sun Qingxu was willing. She just do not know why sect master Lu actually put forward such conditions. As a disciple of the Blue Cloud sect, Sun Qingxu could not help but take care of the face of the sovereign, which made things difficult for Sun Qingxu. The cold plum fairy Zhanxian was more compassed than Sun Qingxu. When she saw Yang Chen, she still gave him a faint look, but there seems to be something more in her eyes. After Sun Qingxu finished, Zhanxian said to Yang Chen. It is my own request to defeat me. I don't want my Tao companion's cultivation base to be under me. If my Tao heart is influenced by people's gossip, it doesn't help either of us. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 388. Advantage. When Zhanxian spoke, she kept staring at Yang Chen and seemed to be watching Yang Chen's reaction. However, what disappointed Zhanxian was that Yang Chen's face was not surprised or sorrowful, as if all this was taken for granted. Sun Qingxu's feelings about Yang Chen were very clear. The estimation she said was also true. It's just that it was not known why Sect Master Lu and the Blue Cloud sect made such a request. This request by Zhanxian was also in line with her original character. She has always been strong. If Yang Chen only has a double cultivation with her, he believed that Zhanxian would not have any problems and there would be no conditions. However, since Yang Chen wanted to bring Sun Qingxu with him and has his own master and apprentice sister, Zhanxian's character would not be so easy to accept it. Sure enough, Zhanxian made this reason hard. Yang Chen also believed that she would not have a chance to soften her hand during the trial, and she would definitely give him a good lesson. This time, but what's the matter for coming here? Yang Chen appeased the grieving Sun Qingxu and gave Zhanxian a kind, and after looking at Zhanxian, he asked with a smile. The two women came to the sect, certainly not because of the explanation, there must be some other reasons. Master said, she would like to ask you to look at the two predecessors of the sect to see if their injuries can be treated. Sun Qingxu did not hide it at all and directly said the requirements of the sect. Master Lu said, if you can cure the two elders, the Blue Cloud sect is willing to thank you. As she said this, Sun Qingxu took out a jade box from her Qianqin bag and put it in front of Yang Chen. Then she said. As long as you are willing to help, even if you are not successful, the Blue Cloud sect would be deeply appreciative. Yang Chen has not done anything, but the Blue Cloud sect has already let Sun Kingsu send the reward. Looking at this sealed, solid jade box, Yang Chen had a little other thought in his heart. However, Yang Chen did not say his thoughts at this time, but turned to Zhanxian with some doubts and asked, is the meaning of the green jade immortal island also the same? Zhanxian nodded with a serious face. In the secret plane, the Blue Cloud sect had 2 masters of the Daching stage injured and 1 from the green jade immortal. These were no longer necessary to explain to Yang Chen. Zhanxian also took out a sealed jade box and put it in front of Yang Chen, but did not say anything. The 2 major sects had such means of doing things. Yang Chen has not promised anything and they have already sent things to the sect. It seems that they knew that Yang Chen would comply. Not long ago, because of Yang Chen's request for marriage, the 2 major sects raised harsh conditions. On the surface, they agreed, but they refused Yang Chen's request for marriage. Now they come again and they even sent Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian. The meaning implied here was very intriguing. Yang Chen felt very strange and picked up the 2 jade boxes and looked at them carefully. Both jade boxes were sealed very tightly and even an array was printed on it. Even the spiritual awareness couldn't pass through, so they didn't know what was inside. The 2 directly came to Yang Chen and even did not send out the request through the sect. This seemed to be a very subtle movement. Suddenly, Yang Chen laughed and smiled while shaking his head so that Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling who followed him were very surprised. Even Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian, who were visiting, did not seem to understand why Yang Chen laughed. Sun Kingsu's face was full of doubts and in Zhanxian's eyes, there was a little more confusion. It turned out like this. After laughing for a while, Yang Chen stopped the laughter and sent out such a sigh. Then he suddenly said. Sect Master Lu and the Island Master, they still see me Yang Chen as too simple, isn't it? This was even more confusing for the girls, they didn't know what Yang Chen meant. Gao Yu couldn't help but open her mouth. Yang Chen, Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian had a hard time to come here, don't play such a mystery game. When the 4 women met, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling did not show any hostile behavior. The things about Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian were originally fixed by Gao Yu, so she naturally would not have any resistance. And Gongsun Ling, as long as Yang Chen was there, would not care much about this. On the contrary, Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian had such a slight hostility at first, but it soon disappeared in front of Yang Chen. Now that Gao Yu asked, Yang Chen would no longer make circle with the ladies, he smiled at Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian. He asked. Sect Master Lu and the Island Master must have certainly given other orders. Zhanxian and Sun Kingsu were really surprised this time. The instructions of the 2 sects, Yang Chen was not present. How could he know? Looking at the surprise of the 2 women, Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling also had some amazement at the time. Yang Chen has been with Gongsun Ling. He has never been in contact with outsiders. How could he know that Sect Master Lu and the Island Master had other instructions? Don't say it, let me guess. Yang Chen stopped the plan of Sun Kingsu to open her mouth and gave Zhanxian an expression of a little smile, then he said. The girls were quiet, they wanted to know what Yang Chen knew. They wanted to know if Yang Chen could guess it. The head of the palace went to seek for marriage. Although for the time being, Sect Master Lu and the Island Master did not directly agree, giving 2 conditions that seem impossible to complete. Yang Chen blinked his eyes as if he had seen everything and said. Everyone thinks that the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island refused, but it is not, right? Bao Yu and Gongsun Ling exclaimed and could not believe that this was true. Their testimony of sight, they immediately stared at the 2 women opposite, seems to be waiting for them to give an answer. Yang Daji is so powerful. Sun Kingsu's eyes were full of admiration, and with this sentence, it has been fully explained that Yang Chen did not make a mistake, at least in the attitude of the Blue Cloud sect, he did not say anything wrong. Yang Chen's kind eyes looked at Zhanxian with a sly look, waiting for her reply. Zhanxian wanted to stretch, but looking at Yang Chen's gaze, she could not keep calm, she snorted, but did not deny it. Since there was no denial, it means that the attitude of the Green Jade Immortal Island was also the same. Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling looked at each other and then turned to Yang Chen, their eyes were full of tenderness and admiration. If I didn't guess wrong, these 2 conditions are actually time limited, right? Yang Chen smiled and looked at Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian and asked softly. Is it waiting for me to get to the Yuning stage? Daching stage. The Daching stage. Sun Kingsu couldn't hide any secret in front of Yang Chen, as long as Yang Chen wanted to know, and it was not the kind of secret that couldn't be said, Sun Kingsu would tell Yang Chen. Therefore, when Yang Chen asked, Sun Kingsu said it. Little Shu. Zhanxian looked at the side and was very annoyed. Sun Kingsu was always acting too simple, so that Yang Chen so easily got information out of her, it made Zhanxian very dissatisfied. Up to now, Zhanxian still believed that Yang Chen did not fully guess it, but because of the attitude of Sun Qingsu it was exposed so that Yang Chen discovered it so he could just put the pieces together. It seemed that the two women had unified their stands before coming. Now Sun Qingsu so easily turned to Yang Chen, even Sun Qingsu felt a little guilty. Under Zhanxian's contempt, she narrowed her neck as if she didn't dare to look at Zhanxian's appearance and bowed her head. The Green Jade Immortal Island also want me to reach the datching stage. Yang Chen smiled and looked at Zhanxian, still waiting for her answer. Snort, even if the island master agrees, if you can't complete the conditions I mentioned, don't think that I will admit that you are my husband. Zhanxian's character was very unyielding, although she still refused to spill everything, but it was also considered answering the question of Yang Chen. Bao Yu and Gongsun already had some problems, the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, what do they want to do? They did not refuse, but they proposed two conditions that seemed impossible to complete. It was a refusal, but they have secretly set a deadline. As long as Yang Chen could get to the datching stage, they would let the two women marry him. What were they thinking about for this, the two of them couldn't understand. This is also a way, not hurting our relationship and can finally fulfill us, but the time will delay us somewhat. Yang Chen smiled and nodded. The most important thing is to let the two main sects have a very reasonable reason for this, Sect Master Lu and the Island Master thought about it perfectly. Sun Qingsu admired Yang Chen at the moment and did not say anything. Yang Chen actually guessed so many things. Big brother Yang Chen was really unpredictable. However, the better Yang Chen performed, the more fascinated Sun Qingsu seemed. Even if you have reached the datching stage, if you can't complete the two conditions, you can't let the sects agree easily. Zhanxian looked at Sun Qingsu's fascinating expression and she was so angry. What was this good for Yang Chen? The heart of the radish, but also give him a good face. Up to now, Zhanxian has not given Yang Chen a smile, but she was cold to him. Looking at Zhanxian, Yang Chen suddenly laughed, which made Zhanxian even more uncomfortable and gave Yang Chen a cold face again. However, when this face was seen in the eyes of Gao Yu, she couldn't help but want to laugh. If she was really angry, why would Zhanxian be here? The famous cold plum fairy was not famous for her endurance of humiliation. After all, she still liked Yang Chen in her heart. If I said that I know what is in these two boxes, will you believe it or not? Yang Chen took the two jade boxes in his hands and asked the two women. I will not believe it. Sun Qingsu was straightforward and said it directly. She has seen this box and her spiritual awareness couldn't go in no matter how much she tried. It was closed and tight and there was no sound when she shakes if. How could he know what was inside? Zhanxian was coldly snorting in her heart, there was no way for Sun Qingsu to hide anything in front of Yang Chen. However, by this time, she also had some curiosity. The jade box she had seen, there was something inside, she was not clear what it was, she would like to know if Yang Chen could guess it or not. In this, it must be a medicinal pill. Yang Chen picked up the jade box of the Blue Cloud sect from Sun Qingsu and said with a smile, and it is a 5th grade medicinal pill. After he said this, he did not wait for the public to have any surprises and directly opened the sealed talisman. After a flash of light, the seal on the box began to disappear and Yang Chen opened the jade box, revealing a layer of round medicinal pill wrapped in a talisman. When he opened the seals of those talismans, a round red medicinal pill appeared in the hands of Yang Chen, the medicinal kai quickly entered their nose. For what kind of medicinal pill it was, everyone had no interest about it for the time being. The eyes of all the people were concentrated on the 5 obvious pill marks on the medicinal pill. 5 pill marks, it was obvious that this was a 5th grade medicinal pill. Looking at this medicinal pill that should not appear in the mortal world, except for Yang Chen, everyone was very sluggish. The Blue Cloud sect proposed that Yang Chen should refine a 5th grade medicinal pill and then gave Yang Chen a 5th grade medicinal pill. This really made people not to know what to say. Yang Chen was thinking about other things. This medicinal pill was just the most common kai replenishing pill. However, after becoming a 5th grade pill, it has become a rare spirit pill. Yang Chen felt very strange, how did the Blue Cloud sect get this 5th grade pill? There was no 5th grade alchemist master in the history of the mortal world. This was recognized by everyone, so where was this 5th grade medicinal pill from? For a moment, Yang Chen thought of the descent of a conciseness clone. There was no 5th grade alchemist master in the mortal world, but there were like clouds in the heavenly court, if the greatest heaven sect could afford to have a conciseness clone decent, the Blue Cloud sect could also afford it. Apart from this reason, Yang Chen couldn't figure out what else was possible. The Blue Cloud sect's tactics of arrogance and deliberation were indeed capable of letting Yang Chen and the Pure Yang Palace be disappointed at first and then become grateful to them so that they were firmly tied to their chariots and the end was a good means. Although this was only a Kai replenishing pill, but it was a 5th grade medicinal pill, so Yang could learn a lot of things from. After removing all the talisman, he kept it in the newly acquired medicine nourishing gourd. In the box of the green jade immortal island, I think, it must be something that can make me defeat you after I cultivate it. Yang Chen took the second jade box and said to Zhanxian. Not waiting for the reaction of Zhanxian, Yang Chen opened the jade box directly. Unexpectedly, there were 2 things inside, one was a refined jade lamp that preserved a fire seed, and the other was a piece of jade slip. 9 secluded heart flame, 6th grade fire seed. The green jade immortal island has played a big hand. After seeing the fire seed, even Yang Chen could not help but be surprised. 9 secluded heart flame was the advanced upgrade version of the heart fire seed that Yang Chen currently has, the grade has reached 6th grade, his own was in the 4th grade. Apart from the 7th grade pure Yang True Flame, which was now kept by Yang Chen, this was already the highest grade of fire seed he had. As for the jade slip, it was a way of collecting the 9 secluded heart flame. For Yang Chen, this piece of jade slip was actually dispensable. Even with this, you can't beat me. Seeing this, Zhanxian's face still hasn't changed, just coldly throwing a sentence to Yang Chen. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 389. The more Zhanxian said this, the more she was expecting Yang Chen to defeat herself in her heart, but she has never realized it. Looking at Yang Chen who has been staring at her and laughing, Zhanxian was also a little annoyed. She could not help but speak angrily. If you intend to rely on this cheating method to achieve the 2 conditions, even if the sect agree, do not think about me agreeing to it. You are right, even if I have absorbed a 6th grade fire seed, I will not necessarily be your opponent. When Yang Chen talked, he still had a smile, so that Zhanxian always had an urge to fight him, but listening to what he said as if there was nothing he could do, she suppressed her anger and was waiting for Yang Chen to continue. But, don't forget, the condition you mentioned is just me defeating you. Yang Chen smiled again and slowly said. But you never said, when will I have to defeat you? No matter when, the result would be the same. Zhanxian was very proud to lift her chin slightly. Zhanxian only had some heart demons when Yang Chen went to visit her the last time. After overcoming the heart demons, her strength has seen a promotion, vaguely reached the realm of the late Jidan stage, and soon she would break through to the peak Jidan stage. This was also the qualification that made her so proud. When I seriously hurt you, it's the same. Yang Chen's eyebrows picked it up and looked at Zhanxian with a smile. Don't tell me, you have a sure grasp of any opponent, so you will never be injured. The senior cold plum fairy could have such a reputation, not by bullying the weak, but because she could always challenge the enemies who were more powerful than her and win in battle. As for the injuries, it was more commonplace, but every time there was an injury, Zhanxian would become even more powerful. Learning from the battle has always been the strength of Zhanxian. She did not think that Yang Chen would have proposed such a method. Even if Zhanxian wanted to argue, she would not be able to argue. She just never thought that Yang Chen would get along with such a way to deal with the conditions she proposed. In her eyes, one-on-one and face-to-face battles were fair and there would never be someone so rogue. However, what Yang Chen said was not wrong at all and did not even violate her own request. One-on-one, yes, face-to-face, it's not wrong, but it's true that Zhanxian, who was seriously injured, was probably not the opponent of Yang Chen. Originally she thought that she could create obstacles for the marriage with Yang Chen. After Yang Chen's sentence, suddenly the condition became the most ridiculous joke. It was easily removed by Yang Chen. In this case, it seemed that Yang Chen has already had a 5th grade medicinal pill on hand and he could also defeat Zhanxian. Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu seemed to be Yang Chen's wife, which was not so far away. Yang Daji, the sect master said, if you want to use this medicinal pill to complete the conditions, you must wait until after the daching stage. Sun Qingxu said these words like she was facing some injustice and there was such a trace of discomfort in her heart. In fact, the green jade immortal island also has the same conditions. If he wanted to use the 9 secluded heart flame to defeat Zhanxian, he must wait until after the daching stage to be able to marry Zhanxian. However, Yang Chen proposed such a solution. With Zhanxian's habit of challenging experts, the chance of injury was very great. Yang Chen would soon be able to meet the conditions of Zhanxian, who would become his wife, but Sun Qingxu could only wait for Yang Chen to reach the daching stage before he could marry her. Even if Yang Chen's cultivation was extremely fast, it would take at least several hundred years. In this case, Sun Qingxu certainly felt somewhat unbalanced and couldn't help but complain. After Zhanxian was made speechless by Yang Chen, she heard Sun Qingxu again, her face sank again, and said to Yang Chen coldly, Yang Chen, if you use the method of disadvantages to reach the conditions, I will look down on you for the rest of my life. Little Shu will look down on you as well. When talking, she was looking at Sun Kingsu with a cold and unprecedented expression. These words were indeed the words of Zhanxian. Although Yang Chen's method does not violate her conditions, she would definitely mock him. Sun Kingsu still wanted to say something, but when she heard Zhanxian's words, she saw the coldness shot in the eyes of Zhanxian. After all, she still didn't say it. She just turned to Yang Chen's side and looked at Yang Chen's face pitifully and nodded. The reluctance on her face seems to explain to Yang Chen that this was not her intention, but she must stand side by side with Zhanxian. Yang Chen, if you really use this method. Just after Zhanxian said this, Gao Chen near Yang Chen also opened her mouth. I will be unhappy too. You should be a great hero, you shouldn't use this way. Gongsun Ling watched Yang Chen kill the Yuning stage devil, killing the Yuning stage master, although she knew that Yang Chen was teasing Zhanxian, but she still followed Gao Yu. 4 women, 2 have promised to marry him, 1 wanted to marry him, but was blocked by the conditions of the sect, but the other was somewhat unwilling to agree easily to it, so he must defeat her. But the 4 people all have the same attitude at the moment, as if they have formed an alliance. The sentences of the 2 women made Zhanxian look at the 2 women's eyes, and her face changed a little, softening a lot. At this moment, the 4 women seemed to be facing the same enemy, standing on the opposite side of their own family. Your husband is not a top-notch character, but he has never been a swindler and deceitful. Yang Chen, of course, must show his attitude, he must not be looked down upon by his own women. If I want to marry you, it must be open and overboard, and I will never let your heart feel dissatisfied. Yang Chen's chest was straight and out, the 2 conditions you mentioned, I will never use a method of cheating to achieve it. When these words were said, except for Sun Kingsu who was worrying, the other 3 women were all glazed in their eyes. They have never seen Yang Chen's arrogance in order to marry them, and naturally they were happy. Little Zhanxian, you can tell your sex now, I said that I promised. After 3 years, I will go to the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island to take a trip to treat the several elders. Yang Chen said quickly tomorrow, you are to come back here. Why? Sun Kingsu asked anxiously. To accompany me in alchemy. After Yang Chen gave Sun Kingsu a smile, he turned to Zhanxian and smiled and said Zhanxian, I will give you 3 years to converse your strength, impact your realm boundary, 3 years later. I want to challenge you, I want you to marry me willingly. Yang Chen's remarks made the 4 women somewhat surprised. Yang Chen wanted to refine the 5th grade medicinal pill, and he has given Zhanxian 3 years to recharge her batteries and then challenge her to 10 games, what was this? If he said that he wanted to defeat Zhanxian, 1 was enough. Why did he still need 10 games? And for 3 years, what kind of medicinal pill was to be refined? No one knew Yang Chen's plan. Yang Chen promised to heal the several elders, but it was as a favor. This was to repay the sect masters, the 2 women did not dare to neglect. They did not come alone, they immediately arranged their own rewards. The 2 women came to Yang Chen's pill room after a day of rest. Bao Yu and Gongsun Ling have been accompanying Yang Chen several times, so Yang Chen alchemy was not surprising for them, but it was the first time for Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian to see Yang Chen's alchemy, the 2 seemed to feel very fresh. Gongsun Ling's mountain river geographical map needed for her to travel around, but Yang Chen wanted to retreat. She has to go out at least to visit all the sites of the Dao sect's domain and to map the mountains and rivers of the Dao sects. Anyway, Gong Sunling had a praying mantis puppet with her, and there was also the ship protection, plus the spirit pill that Yang Chen gave her, which was enough to cope with the danger of most Dao sect's domain. Before Yang Chen refined the pill, Gongsun Ling bid farewell to Yang Chen, bid farewell to Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian, and with several core Jidan stage disciples of the Pure Yang Palace, set foot on the road of going out and practicing. When Gong Sunling came back this time, she also had to collect a few potential apprentices. She was already a mid-Jidan stage master, which was enough to satisfy the conditions of the apprenticeship. Bao Yu wanted to refine the dragon's horn flying sword. Although it has always been within the sect, it has to be tempered with her master at all times, and the design of the dragon's horn flying sword must be perfected. Therefore, the matter of accompanying Yang Chen in his alchemy would be handed over to Sun Kingsu and Zhanxian. The 2 women saw Yang Chen alchemy for the first time and felt curious. However, Yang Chen did not start alchemy at the beginning, but gave each of the 2 women a first-grade inner sensing pill and second-grade inner sensing pill and let them take it in turns. Everyone knew that the second-grade inner sensing pill was Yang Chen's unique medicinal pill. They knew that there were still many pills in his hand, so the 2 women were not polite. After Yang Chen said to Zhanxian that he wanted to marry her in an open and overboard manner, she also had a lot of good expressions for Yang Chen. Although she still had the face of frost, she did not have that kind of target. After the 2 inner sensing pills were taken, the 2 women quickly realized that there was something wrong with the spiritual power in their bodies. Whether it was Sun Qingsu or Zhanxian, they were all geniuses with great talents in cultivation. After discovering the problem, they naturally made targeted adjustments. Just 2 medicinal pills were enough to save the 2 women at least 20 years of hard work. After all, adjusting the previous cultivation deviations was by no means an easy task, and it was even harder to find out. With the inner sensing pills, the sooner the 2 women discovered it, the easier it was to correct the deviation, the higher their future achievements would become. Zhanxian seemed to have some understanding of why Yang Chen asked her to recharge herself. This 3-year period was just enough for Zhanxian to adjust her whole body's spiritual power to the best conditions. She was very much looking forward to what kind of combat power Yang Chen would use at that time. Next, Yang Chen did not immediately start alchemy, but asked in detail about the 2 women, how the injured elders in their sects were injured. Because this time the 2 women came to ask Yang Chen to help, so before they set off, they also specially went to see the injured elders. Everyone was injured and their feelings were told to the 2 women. When Yang Chen asked, they naturally relayed them in detail. The injury of the elders, or you want to see it with your own eyes and judge it better. Although Zhanxian said this, but she still had some doubts. It was difficult to make a correct judgment without seeing it with his own eyes and even diagnosing it. I just need to know if a certain kind of medicinal pill can be used to treat it. Yang Chen replied with a smile and then after thinking about it, took out the profound spirit furnace. Even if Zhanxian and Sun Qingsu were not good at alchemy, but when they saw Yang Chen's profound spirit furnace, they still couldn't help but become dazed. Yang Chen's profound spirit furnace level was so high that the 2 women could not believe it, in any case they could not believe that Yang Chen, a cultivator in the early Jidan stage, how could he refine an alchemy furnace to such a high level? In this respect, Yang Chen certainly would not explain it, but he picked up the medicinal ingredients he needed from the medicine garden. Lingzi mushroom, which has been maturing for more than 1,000 years, has directly produced more than 20 strains. Other fresh herbs, which were more than 1,000 years old, were also fresh and incomparably appearing in front of the 2 women. They have already seen the 10,000 years medicinal ingredients for refining the questioning inner heart pill. These things, which were less than 2,000 years old, were very precious, but they were still not in the eyes of the 2 women. Seeing that Yang Chen had prepared a lot of medicinal herbs, he then threw them into the profound spirit furnace, as if he had thrown a pile of rags. Sun Qingsu and Zhanxian both raised their eyes and stared carefully. Yang Chen was a senior alchemist master. It was not an illusion, but the real thing. So the 2 women really wanted to see if Yang Chen's alchemy technique was as magical as the outside world guesses. Yang Chen wanted to refine the medicinal pill, which was the Lingzi mushroom jade pill. This kind of medicinal pill was the best medicinal pill for healing. For injuries in cultivators below the wielding stage, as long as there was still a breath in them, it could pull people back from the edge of the netherworld. When Gao Yu was in the 100,000 mountains and was in danger, he relied on the Lingzi mushroom jade pill to save her life. The more high-level cultivators were injured, the less likely they were to recover. Generally speaking, the masters of the daching stage were highly skilled and would not be easily injured, but once injured, it was definitely a big problem. This Lingzi mushroom jade pill was only used for the injury under the wielding stage. If the cultivation base was higher, it would be less effective. It was of no use to the master of the daching stage. However, it was relative, a first-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill was of no use, but this does not mean that a 5th-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill would be useless. Yes, Yang Chen was going to refine the 5th-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill in front of the 2 women to heal the 3 daching stage elders who were injured in the 2 big sects. Asking the situation of the 3 elders' injuries was to judge whether the 5th-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill could cure their injuries. Fortunately, in Yang Chen's view, the 5th-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill was enough. No one knew this, but Yang Chen was already a 6th-grade alchemist master before his rebirth. In addition to the fact that the 6th-grade alchemist master in the heavenly court was far worse than the Great Principle Golden Immortal, the experience and techniques of alchemy was no problem at all, plus the basic knowledge of the elderly Lord Pill scripture and recent jade slips. Not mentioning the 5th-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill of the mortal world, even if it was a 6th-grade pill, it was not a problem for Yang Chen. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 390. 5th-grade medicinal pill. In the eyes of Zhanxian and Sun Qingsu, Yang Chen's alchemy was absolutely dazzling. A large pile of medicinal materials was thrown into the pill furnace, and they were separated to an area under the control of Yang Chen, and then different flames emerged, and certain medicinal material was refined separately. If this process occurs in sequence, it was not surprising that each medicinal material was refined and then added to the pill furnace at the appropriate time. This was the common fact of all cultivators in the alchemy process. However, Yang Chen's practice has subverted the common sense of the two women. All the medicinal materials were refined at the same time. The most ridiculous thing was that the flames used in the refining of each medicinal material were still different. There were many kinds of fire seeds in Yang Chen's hands. The two women were clear about this. After refining the questioning inner heart pills, the two major sects give Yang Chen no more than 100 kinds of fire seeds. Different medicinal ingredients were refined with different fire seeds. This was common sense, and undoubtedly. Some herbs were suitable for smoldering fires, some were suitable for slow fires, while others require yin fires, and so on. However, controlling several different flames at the same time and refining dozens of medicinal materials at the same time has exceeded the imagination of the two women. What type of concentration would be needed in order to accurately grasp all the medicinal materials refined? Not only control different flames, but also the different flames have different maturity. Different fire seeds need to correspond to different herbs, and even a kind of medicinal ingredients needs different flames and different heats. Thus this alone was enough to make the two women marvel at Yang Chen's alchemy technique. The two women themselves were masters of cultivation, naturally they understood what such subtle control means. Even Zhanxian seems to have a new evaluation of Yang Chen's combat effectiveness. The refining of medicinal materials has no difficulty for Yang Chen, and even just verified the things recorded on the jade in the medicine nourishing gourd. Of course, Yang Chen used the correct method of conciseness this time, instead of deliberately making mistakes, in order to know what the consequences of the mistakes would be. The next refining, the two women could not understand. But the principle was very clear, nothing more than to add the right medicinal herbs to the pill furnace at the right time, but Yang Chen's approach was slightly different. In fact, there was not much difference. The strangeness of the profound spirit furnace and the exquisiteness of Yang Chen's control of fire seeds was that Yang Chen could use the flame to temporarily store the medicinal materials in a certain corner without being damaged by the medicinal materials. When the medicinal material was added, the refined liquid was controlled to be added. Under the gaze of the two women, Yang Chen soon completed the refining of the first-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill. Because of the improvement of the quality of the profound spirit furnace, each refining of the medicinal pills could automatically increase a grade. If Yang Chen took out the medicinal pills at this time, Yang Chen could easily get the second-grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill. However, this was not the purpose of Yang Chen. Yang Chen has quietly started the refining of the second grade. The two women only knew that Yang Chen was refining a kind of pill that could alleviate the injury of the injured elders. No one would think that Yang Chen was directly attacking the fifth-grade refining system. It's not that the two women couldn't think of it, but it's more than the imagination of the two women. In the past, there has never been a fifth-grade alchemist master in the mortal world. Yang Chen was only a small Jidan stage descendant. Even if he was extremely strong, the fourth grade was the limit. How could it be carried out? Even those senior alchemists who were famous in history, when they attacked the fourth-grade alchemist master realm, they only chose the simplest refining to carry out the fourth-grade refining. Even the Blue Cloud sect's predecessor, whose consciousness clone descended, did he not only refine the fifth-grade Kai replenishing pill? Who could think that Yang Chen was using so many millennial elixir to refine a high-grade healing holy medicine, even thinking about impacting the fifth grade? The two women only thought that Yang Chen's alchemy was an ordinary alchemy. Anyway, they never accompanied Yang Chen in refining medicinal pills. In addition, they had just taken the inner sensing pills and they could just look at Yang Chen's alchemy and try to solve some deviations in their cultivation. The second-grade inner sensing pill was indeed a shock to both women. After personally experiencing the effect, they finally understood why Qiaming and Zhanxian were able to face their tribulation by relying on a pill. At that critical moment, the help provided by this medicinal pill was definitely a qualitative change in the cultivation of people. In a blink of an eye, a year has passed. Yang Chen has completed the refining of the second grade and turned to the third grade refining system. Outside the pill furnace, the situation in the pill furnace was not seen at all. The two women still thought that Yang Chen had not finished refining and no one had reminded him, just quietly accompanying him. The alchemy was very calm, there seems to be no waves, only Yang Chen's look was more and more focused and his expression was more and more cautious. With the third-grade refining, Yang Chen was able to control it relatively normally, but when it came to the fourth-grade refining system, there was some trouble. After all, Yang Chen's cultivation base was too low. In the past, Yang Chen was a sixth-grade alchemist master. He could easily refine the mortal medicinal pills to the sixth grade. However, it was based on his Great Principle Golden Immortal cultivation base. The current Yang Chen was only in the early Jidan stage, even if the cultivation of the yin-yang five-element secret art made it so that Yang Chen's spiritual power was at the level of a master of the Yuanying stage, but compared with the Great Principle Golden Immortal, it was almost heaven and earth. The difference was that he couldn't be compared with one finger of the Great Principle Golden Immortal. In this case, it was still difficult to control the fourth grade refining system perfectly. Fortunately, Yang Chen's spiritual awareness has reached the level of the middle Zhanxian stage, and he could barely control the situation. Yang Chen showed prudence and concentration so that both women understood that this pill was at a crucial moment for the refining. The two women no longer cared about their own affairs but carefully guarded Yang Chen, trying not to let Yang Chen be disturbed. Although this was the site of the Pure Yang Palace, there was no theory that anyone would rush in, but the two women were extremely careful. At the same time, Yang Chen also had a layer of worry. It was not afraid of the dangers of Yang Chen, but he was afraid that his refining would fail. It was also the most attractive time to focus on one thing. Sun Qingxu and Zhanxian had enough good feelings for Yang Chen. At this moment, they were attracted by Yang Chen's kind of concentration. Sun Qingxu already belonged to Yang Chen. If it was not the request of her sect, she might have promised to become Yang Chen's wife. And Zhanxian, while watching Yang Chen so dedicated to the refining of medicinal pills, seems to have more understanding of Yang Chen's efforts. The success has never been accidental. Yang Chen could become such an outstanding alchemist master, he must have his extraordinary place. Looking at Yang Chen's face that has been faintly visible, Zhanxian's heart began to soften. Time flies, especially when Yang Chen was focused on alchemy, he would not notice the passage of time. The current fourth grade refining process has been completed, but Yang Chen was still continuing. Although the profound spirit furnace could automatically improve the refining effect, Yang Chen still needed a little insurance. At least half of the fifth grade refining had to be completed so that the pill success had a higher grasp. In the 2 years and 8 months, Yang Chen already felt that the medicinal pills in the pill furnace have been faintly showing signs of the fifth grade, and then he stopped. Coupled with the efficacy of the profound spirit furnace, this Lingzi mushroom jade pill already had the standards of a fifth grade medicinal pill. If it was necessary to strengthen again, Yang Chen was afraid that once the 6th grade medicinal pill was released, it may trigger the stormy waves of the entire Dao sects. The 5th grade medicinal pill was enough to make people feel shocked. Yang Chen was not a person who was willing to make a big splash. As long as he maintained enough alchemy advantages, there was no need to alarm to the point where he would feel threatened. In addition, even if Yang Chen wanted to complete a higher level refining, he was also powerless. With his current cultivation base, it was impossible. Now it was upgraded to 5th grade by the profound spirit furnace. In fact, the essence was still of a 4th grade medicinal pill, but the pill itself was the Lingzi mushroom jade pill, which was much higher than the Kai replenishing pill. 4th grade was the current true level of Yang Chen. If he wanted to carry out a higher level refining, Yang Chen probably estimates that at least he had to reach the later stage of the wielding stage or even higher. The gap between 4th grade and 5th grade was by no means a big gap, just like the overwhelming effect of medicine. The 5th grade medicinal pill, it could almost be called the true spirit pill, the medicinal pill that would appear in the spiritual world, the wounds of the 3 Zhanxian stage elders, and the 5th grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill have only one effect: medicine to cure disease. In the eyes of Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu, after Yang Chen's dazzling collection of pill recipe techniques, 5 golden medicinal pills instantly became successfully made, and then a flash of light that could not be overlooked flew to Yang Chen's hand. Yang Chen himself carefully explored it first, and even after taking the medicinal pill into his sea of consciousness to observe it, he nodded with satisfaction and handed it to Sun Qingxu. Yang Daji, have done with refining the pill? Sun Qingxu subconsciously asked without hesitation. After seeing Yang Chen nod, she looked down and carefully observed the pill in her hand. Long screams came directly from the mouth of Sun Qingxu, and Zhanxian, who was waiting to ask what was the medicinal pills, was shocked and asked what happened. What happened? Sun Qingxu was somewhat sluggish and handed the medicinal pill in her hand to Zhanxian, and her mouth was still slightly open. She couldn't believe what she saw. On the golden medicinal pills, how could there be 5 pill marks? Zhanxian thought that Sun Qingxu had seen something wrong. After taking the medicinal pills, she only carefully scanned the circle and suddenly fell into horror. This was actually a 5th grade medicinal pill. How was this possible? Zhanxian almost screamed like Sun Qingxu, but still forcibly resisted. She was afraid that she was wrong, and after seeing it over and over again, she was sure that this was not Yang Chen casually making a few pill marks on the medicinal pills, nor was it a fake pill mark, but it was really 5 solid pill marks. I said, I will be marrying you in a grand manner. Yang Chen's incomparable words came out from his mouth. Facing Sun Qingxu, Yang Chen extended his right hand 5th grade Lingzi mushroom jade pill, little Shu, marry me. Sun Qingxu was immersed in a huge surprise. Yang Chen's words made her wake up from the surprise, and then she heard her dream of Yang Chen's marriage proposal. Once again, she fell into ecstasy and no longer cared about others and put herself in the hands of Yang Chen. Yang Chen was only gently picking up the situation. Sun Qingxu's delicate body was thrown into the arms of Yang Chen and Yang Chen hugged her tightly and the tears of joy flowed involuntarily. With a big hand out, Yang Chen gently picked up the pretty face of Sun Qingxu. His big finger gently crossed the cheek of Sun Qingxu, gently wiping away the tears she shed, and then Sun Qingxu became very shy. In front of others' eyes, a kiss was made on the red lips of Sun Qingxu. Sun Qingxu instantly fell into a huge happiness. She only felt that she was already in paradise and the wonderful taste made it almost impossible to support herself. Without the slightest struggle, Sun Qingxu obeyed and closed her eyes and enjoyed the kiss from her beloved. Zhanxian was watching it all by the side, but there was no thought in her heart that she wanted to stop it. According to the conditions set by the Blue Cloud sect, Sun Qingxu was already the wife of Yang Chen. It was just a lack of a ceremony remaining. What reason does she have to stop the affection between Yang Chen and Sun Qingxu? However, this kind of scene made Zhanxian feel a little shy, but Zhanxian didn't retreat. She was still immersed in the fact that Yang Chen refined a 5th-grade medicinal pill in front of their eyes. How could this be? How was this possible? How did he refine the 5th-grade medicinal pill? But everything happened under her own eyes, everything was a fact. Now Zhanxian finally understood why Yang Chen would let her and Sun Qingxu accompany him to alchemy, so that they could witness this moment with their own eyes. If it wasn't for Zhanxian's own eyes being there, even if Yang Chen took out the 5th-grade medicinal pill, Zhanxian might have suspected that Yang Chen was cheating and used the medicinal pill given by the Blue Cloud sect. Everything happened now under her own eyes, Zhanxian just wanted to disbelieve it, but she couldn't. Looking at the happy expression of Sun Qingxu being kissed in Yang Chen's arms, Zhanxian was somewhat envious. If she was kissing in Yang Chen's arms at the moment, what kind of feeling would it be? At the thought of this, Zhanxian suddenly woke up and hurriedly expelled this thought from her mind. How could she think of this? Yang Chen has not fulfilled the conditions she has proposed, he has not defeated herself in an upright manner. Even if he has solved the conditions of Sun Qingxu, but if he wanted her, Zhanxian would never let the matter drop easily. The thought flashed, and Zhanxian suddenly had another problem. Yang Chen let her recharge her batteries for 3 years and then challenge her to 10 games. What does that mean? Could it be that Yang Chen wanted to find a chance to beat her in the 10 challenges? Yes, it must be like this. As long as he could beat her, he would reach her own conditions and marry Yang Chen as his wife. Looking at Sun Qingxu's surprise to the ultimate happy expression, Zhanxian suddenly hesitated. Was it that she should hold back a little Yang Chen's challenge, just a little bit, maybe others couldn't see it. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more.